Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Tyvis Powell, Jason Lloyd. Plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Hey, everybody!
Hey.
I was about to say Happy New Year. It's not the
Not
New Year.
yet.
It's weird.
6 days
Christmas
away.
being on a Monday feels weird to me, and I don't know why. Because I feel like Christmas is usually, well, I get, if Christmas is midweek, like Wednesday through Sunday, that's the end of the week, it feels like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Christmas being on a Monday, now you have a whole week almost between Christmas and New Year's. It just feels a little different.
Is it a lot of regular jobs that like go back to work today?
Absolutely.
Probably.
Unless you work for like the government.
So let me get this right. People went out and celebrated Christmas yesterday on a Monday.
Yeah.
Probably had eggnog and all of that.
Yeah.
And now I got to get up and go to work today.
I mean, if you're working a real
That's crazy.
job,
That's crazy.
a real
Man, I feel like
blue collar job, you're probably working today. I
feel
mean,
like
you look
that's
at
not-
vacation
That's
time.
not fair.
I drunk some tequila last night. Here I am.
There you go. We're working today.
Here I am.
Well, I let you know I did not.
What's interesting though is I don't know if it feels this way to you guys. And we got a lot to get to today. Leroy's going to join us in a little bit. We'll go to Mike in a second for the. We got a big FanDuel ticket for you. We're going to get all into the Browns' big win. Obviously, we did a show yesterday. Hope you enjoyed that. We did that show from home. You guys had the post-game show on Sunday. Everybody's going wild. We'll talk about the Ravens win. We'll talk about it all in just a second. I don't know if you guys agree with this, though. I feel like that there's a lot more in terms of even on Christmas Eve and the week this week. There's a lot more. I felt like when I was a kid, and I was a kid a lot longer than you
There's
guys.
a lot more snow. Yeah.
No, well, yeah, that too. But I felt like everything was shut down. There was nothing. You couldn't go anywhere except for it was like Chinese food and the movie theater.
Are you
That
talking
was the
about
only thing.
on Christmas?
Well, maybe not Christmas Day, but even Christmas Eve, everything's open on Christmas Eve.
Yes.
Oh, I actually went. This is officially makes me a Midwesterner. I'm now 100% Midwesterner. I went to Longhorn Steakhouse for dinner on Christmas Eve.
You know what's funny?
Longhorn Steakhouse.
I was driving because I did the Browns game.
Yeah.
So I was driving back to Worcester to
Yeah.
go be with my family because we stayed at our in-laws. And they have a Longhorn.
Packed.
Yeah.
On Christmas
I was
Eve.
like, are you serious? It's like 9 o'clock at night and it's packed.
I went in there at like 7 o'clock. Place was full. I ran into somebody I knew. I mean, it was the whole big thing.
Longhorn, I guess that's the new thing on Christmas. Prime
it.
rib.
Earl?
So nobody gonna talk about the fact that it was damn near 70 degrees outside
Wasn't
yesterday.
that? That's
know.
Listen,
it was the California
Listen,
Christmas.
if I never see another white Christmas again, I am A-okay.
I've been
man.
saying that
I'm
for
with you on
years.
that.
Yeah, like
I've been
that was
saying that for
beautiful.
years.
That was
It was
beautiful.
it was
yesterday.
awesome. I'm outside in shorts. My son and I are outside in shorts and T-shirts cleaning out the gutters. I had him doing all the work. Had him up on the ladder pulling out the leaves. He's got to learn how to work.
He said you going to work today on Christmas. On Christmas, you going to work today, Aaron.
He loved it.
You going to work, my boy.
I'm telling you, he loved it. He had fun. He had fun. He liked help. He loves to help that kid.
Just knowing Aaron, I figured he'd be at home
What did
playing
you-
Madden, you know.
Well, we played. First of all, we did play Madden earlier today. He kicked
Okay.
my ass.
Okay.
I scored the first touchdown.
And that was it.
We were doing Chiefs versus Niners.
Okay.
I was the Chief. No. Yeah, I was the Chiefs. I scored a touchdown right away. I'm up 6-0. I missed the extra point, and then he scored 29 unanswered points.
Hey,
Kicked my ass.
it be like that sometimes.
But after
Pass
that,
the sticks.
we went out and did the gutters.
How does that feel? You know, when you, because I'm not going to ever get to this moment because there's no way that my kids is going to be, but at a point in time, you used to be very dominant in your kids in sports,
still.
video games.
Never video games.
When they win now, how does that make you feel?
Well, I was
Clean the
never.
gutters?
I don't really play video games. I
Clean the gutters?
That's it. That's the punishment. That's the punishment for beating your dad. But that's it. He can't beat me in anything else. We played MLB
Basketball.
The Show a couple weeks ago. I kicked his ass.
What about like actual sports?
He couldn't beat me in any sport.
You don't think?
What is he going to beat me in? He's 10 years old.
Basketball? Acting.
I'd be in acting.
That's not
basketball.
Steve, hold on, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Steve, that is not a sport. I know this is outside of your realm, but acting is not a sport, okay?
No, he can't beat me in basketball. I'm not very good at basketball, but although he's 5 feet tall now, but I'm still 8 inches taller than him, 7 inches taller than him. We've played.
Are you going to be sad when he beats you?
No, but I'm not gonna let him win. I don't believe in that.
I think my daughter can beat me.
What?
Well, your daughter plays in high school.
I can't hoop, man.
You gotta cut that out.
The Cartwright thing is real, bro. I can't hoop.
When you okay, hold on, let's address this. What do you mean you can't hoop?
So
what can't you do?
I can't.
At least you can play defense.
Okay. Oh yeah, I got the Bruce Bowen down.
Oh, okay, you can be on the court.
I can't dribble and I can't shoot from long range. But you know what I'm saying? I can make a layup. I can play some defense. I used to be able to at least touch the rim. I'm 6 feet even.
And how tall is your daughter?
My daughter is what? She's short. She's about 5'5".
Is she a really good shooter?
She's a better shooter than me.
Do you play one-on-one?
No.
Oh, you haven't played one-on-one?
No, I don't want to.
I'm gonna let you know something.
What?
Earl. Me and my wife. Yeah. My wife was a pretty good high school basketball player. Really good.
She didn't play in college?
No, she gave it up. But anyways, we decided to play a game. And I completely destroyed her to let her know that this is not that. I know this. And this was like, when you're young and you're in a relationship, y'all do the cute thing. No, this was like.
Nah, this was serious.
Like the end of Love and Basketball where he dunked on her at the end. That's where I was
What was the score?
I was 5-0.
Real 5? Quick. You only played the 5?
Yeah, 5.
You give her a chance for a comeback.
Why would I? We could have played the 21. It's not. It's not happening.
Did she shoot?
My wife can shoot very well.
Okay. I respect it, though, because he didn't set a false expectation, right?
No. Yeah,
he set the standard from the beginning of the relationship.
I'm going to the lane.
Were you physical? Like
yes.
You were beating her up?
Yep. Yep.
All right, Mike. Go ahead.
What's up, guys? We got a massive show on deck, and we have a massive winning FanDuel ticket, the biggest winning FanDuel ticket we have ever had on the show. We'll get to that after we tell you why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action than right now. The app is easy to use, and there's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL, an official partner of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. And check out this winning ticket from our guy, Sheeny. He turned 80 cents into $1,009.74.
80 cents?
80 cents on this same game parlay.
He took the
plus
under on everything.
A money line. A Case Keenum under passing yards, Elijah Moore under receiving yards, Jerome Ford under receiving yards, Nico Collins under receiving yards, Devin Singletary under rushing yards, Jerome Ford under rushing yards, Kareem Hunt under rushing yards, David Njoku over receiving yards, Amari Cooper over receiving yards.
Wow.
David Njoku anytime touchdown, Amari Cooper anytime touchdown, Joe Flacco over 250 passing yards, Joe Flacco over 2 touchdowns. Cleveland Browns money line with the Detroit money line thrown in there just because why not?
Wow.
80 cents into $1,009.74. Shout out to Sheeny.
That's crazy.
That is a great win. I hate to say it, though. The first thing I thought of, even if he bet like $10, he would have won like 10 grand.
That's everybody thinks of that after they win.
Right, but 80 cents? Who bets? I didn't know you could bet 80 cents.
So what probably happened is
that what he had left?
Yeah.
He cashed out. He left the 80 cent
left the 80 cent on the
play. He
play.
said,
Wild.
I'm going to go crazy with this 80
And it hit.
Yeah.
What is it? How many? What's his name again?
Sheeny.
Sheeny?
Sheeny.
That sounds like the dude off of Jimmy Neutron.
That's like a. Well, I'm not going to get into it. How many different bets were there in that parlay?
I'll count it one more time, but I believe, and this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. A 15-part parlay. 14 in the same game plus the Lions money line.
Wow.
I wish I could bet on that.
Man. All right,
Shout out
guys.
to Sheeny.
Coming up later, we got a real quick Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show Fantasy Football League. I got beaten by G. Bush, and Tyvis defeated Steve.
Which is unbelievable. If y'all seen my team, I don't know how I'm in the championship.
Well, Amari Cooper's out.
Yeah.
He gave like 50 points.
He put my team on his back. Thank you, Amari.
He did. So it'll be Amari Cooper. It'll be Tyvis against G. Bush for the championship. So there you go. We'll talk more about. We got to hear more later about Mike's trip to Jason for Christmas. But for now, the question is, guys. And I think we know the answer, but I'll ask it anyway. And I'll begin with you, Earl. Are the Browns a legit contender to make the Super Bowl?
I think 1,000% the Browns is a legit contender to make the Super Bowl. I sat right here on this set in July and said I felt like the Cleveland Browns would be playing in the AFC Championship. And that's before I knew everything that would play out this season.
Yes.
That was with the expectation of Deshaun Watson balling out and things like that. With all the adversity that the Cleveland Browns have gone through, and to have 10 wins, fourth time since 1989, to be where they are, Joe Flacco playing the way they're playing, you look at the rest of the landscape of the AFC, I definitely think the Cleveland Browns are legit Super Bowl contenders. We can if you look at the game last night between the Ravens and the 49ers, we clearly see that the Ravens is the best team in the NFL. The good thing about that to me is I know for a fact the Cleveland Browns can beat them with all things equal. And so when I just
now
look
we know the Ravens can beat the Browns too,
with all things equal.
Yeah.
But when I look at everything, absolutely, I feel like the Cleveland Browns are legit Super Bowl contenders.
Travis?
I mean, yeah, they're absolutely Super Bowl contenders. I mean, like I say, given the things that they've been through and where they're at, and you look at the landscape, there's no dominant team in the NFL outside of maybe Baltimore. Baltimore do look legit on all phases of the game. But what I like about the Browns the most, where the Browns have the edge at over a lot of these teams, is that they've dealt with so many injuries that when something happens in the game, it is what it is. Like, all right, next man come in there, same results.
Right.
Whereas you see other teams, when somebody gets hurt, it's a scramble. Let's take the Texans game, for example.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't have C.J. Stroud in there. We already knew that. They didn't have Will Anderson in there. And then a couple of guys get banged up in the course of the game.
Yeah.
Jimmy Ward goes down. They lose some corners.
They lost their other good pass rusher.
And they lost their other pass rusher.
Yeah, right.
So they lost like 3 guys in the course of that game,
Yeah.
and everything just fell apart. Nobody knew what to do.
Right.
To whereas Cleveland has it where we done dealt with it this whole year, so the next person that goes in there is still, everything still clicks like that. And I think that right there is the advantage that they have. The one thing that I'm really interested to see with Baltimore is they've really been pretty healthy this entire season. They might have had a couple.
Except for Mark Andrews.
Except Mark Andrews. But outside of that, they've been pretty healthy. At some point of this season, not wishing it on it, but at some point, it's just the nature of this game. Injuries is 100% going to happen to somebody in this game. They're going to deal with an injury, and I need to see how they respond to it because they haven't had to deal with it outside of Mark Andrews, which Isaiah Likely's been doing a really good job of coming in there and expelling them. But over the course of the playoffs, somebody's going to go down, and I need to see who the next person that comes in does the level of play drop off. We know with the Cleveland Browns, they can handle it because they've been doing it. So I think that's the one key advantage that they have over every other team in the NFL.
The Browns obviously are Super Bowl contenders. They're not Super Bowl favorites, but they're Super Bowl contenders with 100%. Everything about this season is weird. Nothing about this season makes sense. There's so many things about the Browns that if you hadn't watched this team all year and you just saw some of the statistics on paper, you'd say, no, of course this team's not a Super Bowl contender. There's so many things about them, but nothing about this season makes sense. And if you watch this team every week and you watch enough of the rest of the league, then clearly the Browns are a Super Bowl contender. I was thinking about this, like, if you picked playoff teams like they do in college football, if there was a college let's say the three of us
and we had to pick
are
the
the
top
college
4?
football playoff committee.
And we put in the
Like, would the Browns make top 4? I don't think they'd make top 4, but they'd make top, we're going to 12 now, and in the NFL you'd have more than 4. So I don't know. Would you have them in the top 4?
I'm sitting here thinking.
I think I would have them just out of the top 4, but I'd have them in the top 8.
I have Baltimore.
Baltimore's 1.
You have to have Baltimore 1.
San Francisco 2.
Right. Who's 3? Let me give you some possibilities. Browns, Chiefs,
No.
Not the
Dolphins,
Chiefs.
Cowboys. We can't just be prisoner moment. It can't just be just about the last
Eagles.
game, or at least it shouldn't be. What?
Put the Eagles in there.
the
Eagles, Detroit. I'll tell you right now, and maybe I'm being a little prisoner of the moment.
The Browns is 3.
I would go Miami 3. I think I'd put the
I
Browns.
think I'll put Miami 3 too.
I would put the Browns 3 over. Well, I don't know, because they both got the same issues.
What if we
right?
going over
They
there?
both win at home. They're not, but the Browns have a better. No, I would go Browns 3. the Browns have a higher strength of percentage win versus Miami does, right?
Well, Miami never has only beaten one team above 500.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's why I will put the Browns 3.
Yeah, I just think I'm looking at the teams. I think the Dolphins are a little more well balanced right now than the Browns because the Browns can't run the ball. The Dolphins can run the ball, but the Browns are in the conversation. Certainly, I'm trying not to be biased. You know, I have totally jumped on the Browns. You know, I'm like really into rooting for the Browns more than I ever have before. And so I'm trying not to be biased. I think if I look at it from an unbiased perspective, I think I would have Miami 3. I think I would put at 4. I mean, it could be the Browns. I think I would put either the Browns, the Cowboys, or the Lions for me would be 4. I think the Browns are in the top 6. I'd have to think about it more to find out exactly where I'd put them, but they're in the top 6.
The only thing about the Browns that would make it hard for me to put them at the 4th is because they don't run the ball well and they turn the ball over.
Yeah,
that's
and
the two.
You would think eventually those things will catch
exactly.
up. I don't know if it will because it's just been such a wacky season, but those two problems, especially the turnovers, you'd think once they're playing better teams that will catch them at some point. Hopefully it won't, or hopefully they'll disappear in the playoffs.
Well, Joe Flacco's been doing. He's literally been. What he's doing is funny because he goes out there, he'll give it away. He he reminds me of a little bit like Jameis Winston back when he had that 30 for 30. He'll go out there and turn the ball over, but he also gonna get you a bunch of touchdowns. So it's like it'll make up for the interceptions. 1 year,
Jameis had more turnovers than touchdowns.
No, I think he was 30 for 30.
It was 30
touchdowns, 30 for 30.
Joe's on the season. Joe Flacco has 10 touchdowns and 8 turnovers because I think he's lost a fumble or 2, right?
Right.
So I mean, listen, you're right. He lost 1 fumble. It's funny if you look at the numbers compared to Deshaun Watson, and at this point they've played about the same amount this year. Statistically, outside of the total yardage, where Flacco's way ahead of Watson, statistically they're real close. Like Watson's actually got a little better completion percentage. Mm-hmm. Watson's got 8 touchdowns, 6 turnovers. Joe Flacco 10 touchdowns, 8 turnovers. Their QBRs is similar. Flacco's is better. Their completion percentage similar. Watson's a little better. But I feel like watching them that Flacco's played significantly better than Watson.
What I mean,
I don't know.
I still think it has to do with the flow of the offense. I mean,
it's much better now.
It just seems like it's much better. And the interesting thing is that they're doing it with no run game, and that's
right. Flacco's being asked to do way more than Watson was.
Right, but when you think about Deshaun Watson and when he thrived, it was always 5 wide shotgun and let him do his thing. And we got to start seeing that towards the end before when he got hurt. But for the most part, they were still trying to figure things out. And I think with Kevin Stefanski and Joe Flacco, it's Kevin's stuff. I mean, literally, that's what he said in the postgame. They asked Joe Flacco about a play. You know what he said? He said, you have to ask Kevin Stefanski. Kevin comes up with that stuff. I just run what he calls. I don't know, that Kevin's the genius behind all of that. And I'm just like, they're not supposed to be.
Yeah, I mean, they are very much on the same page.
Exactly. And I think that's why, it looks the way it looks. And when things go wrong over a course of a game or when things need to be tweaked and adjust, it's easy because Kevin's like, this is my stuff. I can go out there and fix that easily. But when you're trying to mix and you're trying to do what Deshaun likes, you're trying to do what I like and trying to mix it, it's like, I don't really know how to fix it 100% like that yet because it's not my stuff. Same thing, same problem I think Joe Woods had last year on defense. I think that the reason that the defense looked bad is because, and I told y'all this so many times, I would come on this show and I would look at some of this stuff and be like, oh, that's easy. We could fix it just by doing this, this, and that. But it's like I know that defense. Joe Woods, when he was in Denver, they was a 2-man under team. Like they ran a lot of man-to-man.
Right.
When he went to San Francisco, he inherited that defense because Robert Saleh put it in. It was successful. They kind of taught it to him, and he just took it and ran with it over here. So he really don't know the ins and outs of that defense to be able to fix it like that. And I think that's the same thing we were seeing with Kevin Stefanski and Deshaun Watson trying to mix what they like to do on offense together. It's like we don't really know how to fix it 100% yet because we don't know exactly what the final product is supposed to look like.
Good point.
It's funny, he talked about the flow of the offense. I think this was like 2 weeks ago. I was listening to Joe Thomas on Cleveland Browns radio network. he was on there with your boy Bo Bishop and Nathan Segura.
Oh, yeah.
And he was talking about Flacco being in New York with LaFleur and how LaFleur and Stefanski kind of comes from the same tree.
Yeah.
And a lot of what they run is similar.
Yeah.
And I think we underestimated how quickly Joe Flacco was going to be able to pick up this Browns offense and take off running with it. You see him getting better and more comfortable with this offense every single week. You see Kevin Stefanski as a play caller. Like I told Mike, man, my man's cooking with fish grease right now. It's like whatever he call is working. But I think more so than just the flow of the offense, it's that veteran leadership of understanding the little nuances, right? Understanding what the opposing defense is trying to do. Just the movement. It's just so many different things about what he's doing. And it has me like, damn, like just seeing him recognize the blitz, get the ball out quick, the one throw to David Njoku. It's just the veteran leadership, you know, understanding the flow of the offense. Kevin Stefanski with his play calling. And the Browns, like you said, they're doing all of this without a running game. Real quick, Tyvus alluded to, you know, guys get hurt. And, you know, we're just subbing guys in and we keeping this train rolling. You can really start to see the culture change in Cleveland, right? And I think that's why these things are happening. It's because we have a healthy culture to where you can legit just plug and play and keep it moving.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and, you know, it's funny because it seems like every week the Browns lose somebody on offense, and even this week the offense was fine. It was special team losing. But I said this yesterday on the show that obviously you don't want to see your kicker or punter get hurt, especially the kicker.
We lost both of them.
Lost both guys, right?
I never heard of this. The
but
kicker
you know,
and the
I said this on Monday, and I want your take on this, guys. I said there's a little part of Kevin that loves that he can't kick the ball.
I said that on the postgame show.
Yo,
right?
that's facts, though.
Right?
That's facts. Kevin probably somewhere like, yeah,
I
baby.
could go for every fourth.
Wait a minute. Was he not? He was pretty decently successful without it. I mean, they got the 2-point conversion.
But that's the Bulls' point. He was like, he was looking at his chops like, yeah, I get to play Kevin ball.
I can't be criticized for going for 2. I can't be criticized for not punting.
He said, I'm about to try this.
I have to do it.
He said, ooh, I'm going to try this. I ain't tried this all year.
I've been drawing this one up all year. Finally, I go.
He went deep into the playbook.
But you know the interesting thing, we talked about, you know how back when it was all about Kevin needs to give up a play call. He's calling these terrible plays.
Yeah.
Did you watch the Chiefs game? Did you see the reverse that got fumbled and got taken to the house?
I did not see that play.
All
I saw
right.
some of the game, but not the whole thing.
So the interesting thing is, the play didn't work and it resulted in a touchdown.
I know what your thought was.
And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I wonder if they're out there saying Andy Reid should give up play calls.
Andy Reid lost his damn
Don't
mind.
that sound absurd?
Yeah, right.
That's what we was dealing with, though.
And right now, if anybody said take Kevin Stefanski, you should give him the play call, and you'd be like, what are you, an idiot?
That's what I'm saying.
Right, exactly. You're right.
Have y'all noticed even the stuff that didn't work, fans is not complaining no more?
No.
Like we had a couple drives where we went 3 and out and punted. And now all of a sudden, nobody is questioning anything that Kevin Stefanski
I think
calls.
people realize, like, given the circumstances, he's done a great job with the circumstances, which is I've been trying to say all year. Like, this man is dealing with, he doesn't have his horses. He has nobody. And he's still finding a way to make things happen. You can try to give it to AVP. I don't know if AVP is, I'm not going to say he isn't or if he is, but I think it'll be totally interesting to watch him go out there. Like, yeah, we're going to give you, try to run your best stuff with these 2s and 3s that we got out there and see if you get it done.
Right. And right now, Kevin Stefanski doesn't, he's got nothing to do with the defense, I'm sure.
Nah.
Jim Schwartz is the head coach of the defense. Kevin Stefanski loves, that's what a lot of coaches like these days. They want to have their unit.
That's what I said about Kyle Shanahan. Kyle don't go down there. I played defense. Kyle ain't never came down there and said nothing to the defense.
It's so funny, man, because like this is where I love Kevin Stefanski. I think he's a great leader in man. I think he just exhibits great leadership. When I was a supervisor for the city of Cleveland, one of the things that I learned in training was the art of delegation, right? You train up your people, you put the right people in place, and then you delegate so you can focus on what your primary job is.
Yeah.
When I first got promoted, I was doing the same things that I was doing that got me the promotion. You know, trying to outwork everybody, this, that, and the third. But my obligations changed when I became a leader. We seen Kevin Stefanski grow this past offseason as a leader, right? You seen him look at his coaching staff, realize Joe Woods ain't it, Mike Prefer ain't it. I need to make some serious upgrades so that I can delegate to men that I trust so I can focus on the overall landscape of this football team. And I think so much with Kevin Stefanski is hung up on the X's and O's. that people don't forget is more to being a great head coach or a good head coach even to that. You got to be a leader of men. You got to be organized. You got to know how to put people in the right situations to have success. And he's done a better job of that.
Well, and the players love him.
Well, that's what I was going to say. This year, I think this year what happened was he realized what you're saying is right. You know, with a lot of great offensive minds, the thing about a great offensive coach is some of the best offensive coaches I've been around don't really know how to handle defense. So that's why they go get some of the best defensive guys minded-wise and say, you run defense. You do your thing over there. I don't really want to be bothered with that. I trust you to get it done.
Right.
So I can focus on this offense. Same thing with Kyle Shanahan. I don't really know too much about that defense or what you're running over there, but do your thing. And I think Kevin finally got that with Jim Schwartz. Was like, I trust Jim. Jim's going to get it done. Anything that happens, it's Jim's defense. He knows how to make the checks and adjustments. It'll get corrected like that, which we see a lot of the times.
Right.
And the next step he took was, I want this team to become closer. I want to build it as a family atmosphere because, like I say, that when you do it for somebody outside of yourself, you tend to do it, you go harder because it's like, I don't want to let my teammate down.
Sure.
And I think for him, he's been so buttoned up and been so Bill Belichick where he don't let nobody in, media, nobody. And I think this was the first year he started opening up a little bit. And once they went to Greenbrier and they spent more time around the team, I don't think he did it on purpose. I think it accidentally happened where he started really connecting with guys. He started really learning about them, getting to know about these guys, and he opened his heart up. It's accidental, but you spend time with somebody, you open. It's like a relationship. The more time you spend with somebody, the more you open up to them. And he's become to the point where it's like, I love these guys. Like, I'm about to go out there and do everything I can.
He's shown a little emotion.
Exactly.
Not too much.
He's fired up on the sidelines.
Right.
He's cussing referees out.
Right.
He's speaking more in the media.
I do think he maintains, he doesn't lose his mind.
No, it's not over the top.
He's even
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
But he definitely has loosened up a little bit, and that's good.
Jonathan Peterlin, right? He told this story Sunday. When you talk about the development of relationships with the players, he talked about David Njoku in 2020 when Kevin Stefanski first got here. It's not like he said, I'm not going to say they hated each other, but it was a major disconnect there. You fast forward to where they are now, and these dudes, like, they're bonded, right?
Yeah.
The communication is there. The relationship is healthy. We've had a few Cleveland Browns players on our show in different ways over the last couple of weeks, and they've all said the same thing. They talked about the team chemistry. They talked about this brotherhood, this bond, and going to war for each other, or just being there for each other and blocking out the outside noise. And I think that's attributed to what Kevin Stefanski has done. And so you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Those relationships matter. And the healthier the relationship is, it's kind of like us. We all got healthy relationships despite what the public think when the cameras is off.
Yeah, I just found out today. I just found out today, in fact, before the show, that I can't remember how it started, but I said, I bet a lot of the audience thinks I hate Jay, which I don't, but he and I argue a lot. And both Mike and Earl told me that they've both been asked, do I hate them? And I thought, that's crazy.
I had Thanksgiving at this man's house.
Well, boy,
I love you guys.
Yeah. Boy, nobody's ever asked if you hated me.
No, we get along all the time. But I can't believe people would think I hate you, and I can't believe people would think I hate you. I love you guys. Even Jay, who I argue with way more
than us.
way more than you guys. I don't hate Jay at all. I love to argue with him. I love to needle him. He loves to needle me. I love it. I have never hated anybody that I've been on a show with. Anybody.
Except Steve.
No, I love Steve.
That's between them two. But the point is, man, you can look at the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and then you can look at the Cleveland Browns, and you can see some similarities
Steve,
of how those relationships
that's right.
kind of help build this thing and build this momentum and keep us pushing forward. And that's why how they're going to win the Super Bowl. That's why we're going to be here for a long time.
That's right.
Before we move on to our next topic, Bobby G sent me his top 4 if he was voting in as a committee.
Yeah.
And I want to just give you his top 4 real quick. We'll spend a minute on this, but do you agree, disagree, think he's close or way off? This is Bobby G from Game Times, top 4 if we were voting playoff committee.
Yeah.
Number 1, Ravens. Number 2, Browns. Number 3, Lions. Number 4, 49ers. With the Bills and Eagles at 5 and 6.
I think, we forgot about the Bills, because the Bills are playing great. I know they didn't beat the Chargers by a lot, but they look, I'm actually, I would actually the Browns play anybody in the playoffs rather than the Bills. That's the last team I want them to play.
Man, ever since Sean McDermott dropped the ball, boy, they done picked it up and been rolling.
You guys agree with that?
What?
The Bills are the
Bills.
team
I don't want
to play the Bills.
Yeah,
it took me a while. Like Mike said earlier,
Yeah.
I'd rather be late to the party than not show up.
Yeah.
It took me a minute to come around to like, okay, I don't want to play Buffalo right now.
Yeah.
Anybody else in the AFC, I think I'm okay playing. I don't want to play Miami in Miami. They might put you on that sideline when it's 30 degrees hotter. But everybody else, man, it's fair game. Bring them.
Although, interestingly, with the Dolphins, Jalen Waddle got hurt.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big deal.
And then Tyreek is still dealing with the ankle.
Yeah, but he's playing. I mean, he's not. By the time the Browns would play them, he's probably okay. But to not because it's not like they're deep. They have those two guys who are great.
That's
Do we
it.
know how long Waddle's out?
What's that?
Have we seen any update on how long Waddle?
I thought I read that he might be done for the season. I could maybe.
It's like a high ankle sprain, right?
I don't know.
What's
I don't
that,
know
Titus?
what it
4 to
was.
6?
Something like that.
That's 4 to 6.
I'll look into it.
I mean, listen, you could put the Browns wherever you want. I mean, I think overall, like, it's funny when it comes to the Browns versus
He said the
Niners.
Browns was 2?
Bobby
Well,
G
here's
had
the
Browns
thing.
at
It's
2.
like College Football Playoff Committee. What's more important, the head-to-head? Obviously, the Browns won that game. Overall, I think it's fair to argue the Niners have played a little better than the Browns this year. Overall, as a more balanced, they've won more decisively more often. But, yeah, I mean, you could make an argument for the Browns to be as high as 2.
I don't think it's absurd. I
It's
would
not.
have them at 2 personally, but I don't think it's an absurd argument to make.
I think the more I think about it, I'd have the Browns probably 4 or 5.
I got them 3. I would go Baltimore, San Francisco, Cleveland, Buffalo. I would leave Detroit out. Detroit won last week, but over the last 5 weeks, they've been kind of shaky.
They dropped. They almost blew the game.
Dallas can't win on the road.
Yeah.
Kansas City, they're a dumpster fire right now.
They can't catch.
They're a mess.
Yeah, so it's like
They lost the game, and Aiden O'Connell completed 6 passes in the first quarter. Went on to complete not another pass for the rest of the game, and they won.
And by the way, speaking of the AFC North, real quick, how about the beatdown the Steelers put on the Bengals?
I felt bad for you.
Speaking of dumpster fire and decisive things, this next question we're going to ask, I'm going to put in the poll.
Yeah.
And I'm beyond curious how the chat is going to respond to this. I'm going to throw fuel on the fire here. But first, as the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay red hot on FanDuel. And right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action than right now. The app is simple to use, and there's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL. Little backstory, G. Bush was supposed to be in today. He still doesn't have a voice. He had to go to the doctor, so Earl
Did he
filled
go?
in. He did go to the doctor this morning.
He hasn't texted me back.
He texted me back. Yeah, I don't know, but he did. He sent me a doctor's note, so he definitely went to the doctor. And before Earl knew he was going to be out there, I asked Earl this question. He goes, I don't even want to answer that, man. I'm not going to answer that. Yeah. Well, now, Earl, you're on the panel, so you can't avoid the question.
What was G's answer? Had G given you an answer?
No, G had not answered this from me.
Okay. So here's the question. You want to do it? Or you want
I want to ask it to you because I want all you guys to answer. Right now, today, is Joe Flacco more valuable to the Browns than Myles Garrett?
That's such a tough question.
I don't like when he do this.
Let me just put it in this perspective, and I'll tell you why my answer is as insane as this is.
I was going to say
it's Joe Flacco.
That's who you going with.
Okay, and let me tell you why.
I'm going the opposite way, but go ahead.
Let me tell you why. Because I thought about it this way. We just said the Browns are Super Bowl contenders. Mm-hmm. If Myles Garrett can't play the rest of the season, do you think the Browns are still Super Bowl contenders?
Nope.
Okay, I do.
I don't.
You don't.
I do too. I'm going to be honest.
You do too.
I don't.
I think they are.
I really don't.
I don't like their chances as much, but I think they still are. If Joe Flacco gets hurt today, are the Browns still Super Bowl contenders?
Absolutely not.
Yes.
No. What?
Yeah.
You crazy.
You think they can win a Super Bowl with DTR or PJ Walker?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, listen, if those are your answers,
I believe in Kevin. I'm like the only person in this world that kind of believes in Kevin right
I love Kevin. You know that.
Y'all don't believe in him like that.
You believe in Kevin with PJ under center?
What's his record? Wait. Speaking of, Phillip Walker is back on the Browns active roster.
This is insane.
Great job, Andrew. crazy.
This is ridiculous.
What is? Can you give me that PJ Walker graphic?
I'm not
one more time.
Phillip on the screen.
I don't know exactly.
DTR did hurt his hip. He's out. Phillip Walker's been upgraded to the active roster. The Browns also signed a punter, which I'll tell you guys about in the next segment.
Okay,
but
we'll get to the kicker and the punter in a little bit.
Anyway.
Okay, so you're obviously based on your answers, you're taking Myles Garrett.
I'm taking Myles because this is why the Browns have won a bunch of games without Joe Flacco. They won a decent amount of games without Joe. I think if you take Myles off, we don't know what the Browns look like without Myles. If you take Myles off, that opens up play calling. Plays that get a lot of the plays that, and Kevin said it last week on his press conference, a lot of the plays that we don't see from Myles or to happen, Myles get TFLs, Myles gets pressures. You telling me I can run to the left of the side of the field now without Myles? You telling me I don't have to spend a double team or a triple team? I can actually have more guys go out in coverage? You telling me I can do all that offensively? Oh, absolutely. Now we're going to be much more effective offensively because we don't have to sacrifice 2 or 3 guys to stop one guy. Offensively, they've been able to get things done without Joe Flacco. PJ Walker's came and done well. DTR has won games.
So PJ Walker hasn't done well. They won in spite of him.
They won the game.
They did.
It ain't that. The only difference between PJ and Joe right now,
Go ahead.
is that Joe actually is throwing more touchdowns. But he's turning the ball over every game.
That's the only difference.
He's turning the ball over every game.
That's the only difference.
PJ Walker's 1 for 5. Joe Flacco's 7 for 5 or
That's
something.
That's a huge difference.
So what? So what? He's still turning the ball over.
I know that, but he's making up for it.
All you got to do is take her. The defense is so good that just don't turn the ball over. Just don't turn the ball over.
They at least could run the ball a little bit when PJ Walker was playing the first. They can't run it all
They can't run right now. You telling me PJ Walker?
How are they going to score?
Here's my counter.
Maybe they can't. You know why they ain't running the ball well? Because they leaning on Joe Flacco. If you know why they ran the ball with PJ Walker? Because they knew that if they didn't run the ball well,
Tyvus is out of pocket.
Am I wrong?
Out of pocket.
He's absolutely
Why is the defense playing so? Why did they play so well?
This is my
when Deshaun went down, they knew.
I hear you. But last week,
Earl, 1 second. That's all you. The chat, real quick. Tyvus, the only difference is touchdowns. I've never seen the chat go hotter than after you just said that. Just so you know, I've never seen the chat go hotter than after you said that.
They reacted.
They both turned the ball over.
Had about 150 yards a game.
In that game Sunday, I seen Zadarius Smith ball out like he hasn't at any point this week, right? Over this year. Over the last 2 or 3 weeks, Alex Wright, you know what I'm saying? He's been making a little bit of noise, getting some quarterback pressures, etc. Myles Garrett has been playing good without the sacks. I'll give him that. As the quarterback pressure's been there, not really. They wasn't there the last game. We just talked about the culture. We just talked about this plug and play. Jim Schwartz set the tone with this defense back in the preseason. They've been playing like this back in the preseason.
Earl, I know you're not about to say. I know you ain't. I know you're not alluding to what I think. Wait a minute.
All I'm saying is,
hold on. Are you sitting there telling me?
You telling me the only difference between PJ Walker and Flacco was the touchdown?
Are you telling me right now that if Myles Garrett sat off and sat on the sideline, you be okay with Zadarius Smith and Alex Wright at DN? Is that what you're telling me?
I'm more okay.
Are you insane? You know why? Do you know why they're able to do that? Because Myles Garrett is taking on a double team, triple team all the time.
And you think PJ Walker gonna take us to the Super Bowl?
He won games.
Oh, my goodness. This is ridiculous.
Did he not win games?
Tyvus is outside of his mind.
Is PJ Walker not a winner?
Oh, my goodness. Zadarius Smith that had all these sacks his whole damn career.
Mikey McNuggets.
Oh,
is PJ Walker a winner or not, career-wise?
This is ridiculous.
Is he not a winner?
My daughter just texted me, Dad, Tyvus crazy.
All I need to know, y'all can say whatever you want to say. I just need to know is career-wise.
Are we giving PJ Walker the Colts game?
Yes, we are. He played the whole game.
6-10 as a starter in his career.
He's what?
6-4 as a starter in 10 games.
Okay, Tyvus, let me say something because
I rest my case.
There's a lot in what you said that was actually true.
It's accurate.
It's getting lost in your PJ Walker insanity. Your argument your argument about why the other guys are able to have success is dead on. You're right.
Thank you.
The reason they're able to have success is because Myles Garrett.
Factual.
Those guys are nowhere close to Myles Garrett. And the Browns' chances of winning I was about to say the World Series. The Browns' chances of winning the Super Bowl without Myles Garrett would go down, no doubt. He's the second most important player. He's the best player on the team.
What?
But right now,
wait a minute,
on this team in this unique circumstance, Tyvis, Joe Flacco's more important because the offense right now, without Joe Flacco, would be the worst offense in the league.
It would be non-existent.
Bull.
It would be non-existent.
Wait a minute.
You know what? I'm going to take that back. Not the worst in the league because I love Kevin Stefanski, and he'd make it like the 23rd offense.
What is their offensive rate right now?
I'll say this.
In terms of what?
In terms of what? Since Flacco's
A
taken
total
over?
offense.
I haven't done the numbers, but I do the game stats every week before we come on the show. Each week that I do the team-by-team stats, I've seen the points per game, pass yards per game, those numbers literally elevate like 3 or 4 spots every single
That's
week.
fine, but this is what y'all some hypocrites, and I gotta put my phone down.
Oh, look at
Listen, y'all. All right, Steve, let me see that. Thank you. Y'all know that this
Not him,
season,
Steve, cool.
any other season in the NFL, y'all can literally sit there and tell me that this year proves that you might be able to win with an average quarterback. Okay, quarterback, we might have been overrating it a little bit because there's been so many different quarterbacks that's got hurt this year, and yet these teams are still finding ways to win games, right?
Some teams.
Okay.
Most of the better teams still have good quarterbacks.
You can say pretty much this season that the teams with the better defense are pretty much the top of the NFL right now.
I mean, the best team in football is the Ravens, and Lamar Jackson's playing great.
What about the defense?
Oh, their defense is playing great, too.
Their
You got
defense lead
both.
the
What
league
about
in,
San Francisco?
sacks.
Well, until yesterday,
What
Brock
about
Purdy was playing great.
What about the Cleveland Browns?
That's fair with the
So
Browns.
you would be so
Buffalo
I
quarterback.
don't think I'm stepping out on a limb by saying
Okay.
that this year that I think that more times than not defense probably gonna win championships.
No, but you stepping out there saying, Philip, you
Wait a minute, answer the question.
Is defense
No, you're
gonna
not.
win a
Okay,
championship?
You're not.
Is defense going? Do
There's
you
a
think
chance this year
if you?
it will.
Okay, thank
I
you.
think there's a chance it will.
Okay,
Yeah,
now we
that's factual.
progressing in the right direction.
But
thank
I
you.
think you could win it with a mid-tier quarterback, which right now I'd actually say Joe Flacco's playing better than that, but he's at least playing like a mid-tier quarterback.
Why do you?
P.J. Walker's the worst quarterback.
All
in
I
football.
heard
Wait a minute. This don't
Yeah.
make no sense.
Go ahead.
Why? So you can win it with a mid-tier quarterback because of what?
Defense.
Thank you.
Okay.
So how you gonna take away the best player on the defense?
Because-
and think you
all
gonna
right.
get the results?
Philip, no, bro.
Hey,
They're one. You act
Phillip-
like I can see if they lost
all,
every game. with
Tyvis,
Phillip.
all I'm saying is if the Browns lost Flacco or Garrett, they're probably not going to win the Super Bowl.
That's fact.
Probably not.
That's fact.
However, I would give them a better chance with no Garrett and Flacco than I would with no Flacco and Garrett.
Give me
That's how I see
Zadarius.
it.
If I had Zadarius Smith and Alex Wright on the end, and I didn't have Myles Garrett and I still have Flacco, I trust that the Browns can still do everything they need to do.
The Browns would still have a lot of talent on defense. Obviously, it would hurt them without Myles Garrett, but they would still have a lot of talent. On offense, the offense is dead now without Joe Flacco. It's dead. They have no running game.
It wasn't dead without him before.
But at least they could run the ball a little early in the season.
They could find a way to get that done again.
You know
why they will get it done? Wait till Leroy.
Is the joke?
You know why they'll find a way to get it done?
Leroy-
Because they know that's their only chance to
So
win the game.
Is David Njoku and Amari Cooper still balling out like this with P.J. Walker?
No.
They getting a bunch of targets.
But are they
right.
balling out like this?
I don't know
because he's-
I don't know what their numbers was.
But he's not
Njoku
throwing-
was not. Amari Cooper was Amari Cooper throw the check
The
down.
Browns could be averaging -3 yards per carry, and Leroy would still say run the ball. That is
not true.
That is 100%
That's
true.
true.
By the way, who would have guessed, DeJuan Jones being out has made a big deal in terms of the running game. I mean,
Which
I
is
gotta
funny
think
because at the beginning of the
his
year,
grades weren't good.
It was
in the running
terrible.
game,
He
but
was
I don't
good in
know.
the pass game.
But look, even this week, I'm sidebarring a little bit, but this week, the offensive line did a great job.
Yeah.
they did.
In terms of the pass blocking.
shout
So
out-
how can I totally blame them in the running game?
Well, They didn't have Will Anderson, and they didn't have their second best passer.
Joe Flacco did not get sacked.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When you don't have Will Anderson,
the second
they should have been able to run the ball. Jerome Ford runs sideways.
Wait a minute. The Texans ranked 6th in the run defense. Now, that don't mean nothing.
Yeah, but they were without their 2 best defensive linemen. I know
that's on the end.
Tackles.
The tackles make the difference.
Speaking of which, Anthony wasn't too crazy. Remember the first fence rider question he had? Browns, it was like 50 yards.
Yeah.
We ran for 54 yards as a team.
Yeah, that's true.
He wasn't too crazy with that.
Go ahead, Mike.
I have the poll result from this, by the way, and this has been. I don't always follow the chat, but there's no Myles versus Flacco comparison graphic, so I was kind of keeping an eye on this. Very, very, very entertaining chat on this. Tyvis, the reaction to touchdowns don't matter was epic.
That's not what I. No, y'all took it out of context.
All I heard was
that's not what I said.
All I heard was the only thing Flacco do better than Phillip, and I lost it. Well, he lost me as soon as he said that.
You sabotaged yourself because your overall argument.
The way he set it up was like
your overall argument was a solid argument, but that was so crazy.
They took it out of context.
Yo, said it. What do you mean?
All I said was I said the biggest difference. I didn't say it didn't matter. I didn't say it didn't matter. I said that was the difference.
What matters more?
Bull.
Go ahead.
The biggest difference between the Panthers and the Browns are the wins.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the only difference.
That's all we heard. It was like, wait a minute.
You sabotaged.
We put it in the chat, and when the chat is even on something or pretty close to even, I think it's a fun topic. I enjoyed listening to this.
Yeah.
55 Flacco, 45 Garrett.
Yeah,
over 500 votes.
And it's 45% of people that understand what I'm saying.
It should be close.
Y'all sick for just taking what I said and taking it out of context because that's not what I said.
You did it to yourself.
All I said was the biggest difference between
your
the two
argument was
is
very
6
solid.
touchdowns.
You had a very solid argument. I agree with a lot of
so
what
I should have said that last.
But you blew it with the first one. You blew it with that first one.
It was like,
next time.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Hey.
All right, Mikey, what do we got?
We not better
if you guys
than this. We still learning.
If you guys missed the post-game show, go back and check it out. It was a lot of fun with G. Bush, myself, and Earl. And whenever the Browns don't have to put us through cardiac arrest in the final 2 minutes and we can celebrate
how often does that happen?
An absolute butt whooping, it's been very few and far between this year. It is a lot of fun. And G. Bush, who's not here today, hopefully he's back tomorrow. If you want to hear G's immediate take to the game, you go back and listen on the post-game instant reaction show on the YouTube channel. We got a little update for you guys, actually. Since the show has started, the Browns have signed a punter. They signed Matt Hawk. Not
They're
the
going to
punt
set
guy.
Matt Ariza.
I thought he was going to say that too. The point guy.
Why is that guy not getting a chance now?
I don't know, but they signed Matt Hawk.
It's too many PR behind it.
They've also
He was
signed.
completely vindicated.
Still going to be PR behind it. OJ was vindicated too.
People are afraid of
still
negative
hear about that.
public perception, right?
I guess.
You can be
also
vindicated.
signed Riley
You can be all of
Patterson.
that. But that negative public perception, people just don't want to deal with it.
Especially right now, this late
the
in the
Browns
season.
don't want that.
You
But
don't
I
want
don't
all
know.
that.
All right, so they've signed Riley Patterson.
Riley Patterson, the kicker. Matt Hawk. It's H-A-A-C-K.
Where did he come from?
Hawk.
H-A-A.
He was last on the Jets practice squad. No. I take that back.
I'm not really worried about the punter.
I have no idea where he's from. I'll look it up. It literally happened 2 minutes ago.
The
But
kicker
Matt
is
Hawk-
the guy you need in the
more
clutch
important. What do you think
situation.
about Riley Patterson?
So Riley Patterson's the guy who was with the Lions. He was the Lions kicker for most of the year. He had been doing well, and then I think he had a really terrible game either last week or the week before. I don't know what happened to this guy, and they just cut him after he'd been really good for them. Mike, what was his last game he played for Detroit, Riley Patterson?
I'm pulling up his game log right now because it certainly doesn't make sense. When you
I think
look
it was
at
the
his overall
Jaguars,
numbers.
right?
He's on the season. He's 15 for 17 and 35 for 37 from extra points. So it's not like he has a ton of misses.
They don't kick a lot of field goals because they go for it on fourth down, I think, more than any other team, the Lions.
The last game.
Yeah. What's his last game?
What did he
do?
played. I don't have a great answer for you. He was 2 for 2 and 3 for 3 on extra points, and he missed an extra point against Chicago. He was 1 for 2 against Chicago, and they cut him after that.
1 for 2 on extra points?
0-0 field goals, 1 for 2 on extra points.
Mike, what is he, 87.3% for the season?
On the season, yeah.
Did he kick it? How many 50-yard field goal attempts does he have?
Listen,
This season, he is 1 for 2 on 50-yarders.
all we need.
So they don't trust him. I think that's it. They don't trust him to kick a 50-yard field goal.
And in his career, Ty, real quick, in his career, just like Dustin Hopkins was 50%, he's 3 for 6 in his career on 50-yard field.
Yeah, he hasn't been around that long. He's pretty young, isn't he?
Third year.
We just need him for 2 games.
Well, we don't know what Dustin Hopkins' situation is.
We hope it.
But at least it's a guy who's been kicking in the league this year. Have we gotten any update on Hopkins yet?
No, and Stefanski has not players are speaking first before Stefanski. So as soon as Stefanski tells us what happened, I'll try.
When is he expected to speak? Is it before 1 or no?
Yeah, today. It's supposed to be 12:30.
Guys, this is a pretty big deal.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a huge
Dustin
deal.
Hopkins has been great.
Oh, it's 1 o'clock. Sorry.
Okay, Dustin Hopkins has been great. If they don't have him for the playoffs, I don't like that.
Oh, wow, you got Joe. Oh, it's different now.
So you're okay with Hopkins being out?
I mean, according to him, just try.
You got Myles.
You could try to outdo it all, Phillip. You know, only difference between Hopkins and Phillip is.
I mean, maybe I could play quarterback.
The only difference between Hopkins and Phillips is what? I mean,
y'all are sick today. You know, y'all need to be checked after
I
the
think
show
I could throw less picks than Phillip.
Anyways, it's a big deal. I mean, so many games came down to a field goal. That P.J. Walker definitely put them in position to win. Just gonna throw that out there. So yeah, you hope that Dustin Hopkins could come back. But this guy, he seems like he can get the job done. I mean, his stuff is similar to what Dustin Hopkins was.
Right, but
you gotta trust that Bubba Ventrone, which boy, you better fix that that kickoff team. I can't believe you gave up that to
But here's what has me concerned. If he's just kicking for the rest of the regular season, fine.
That's what I'm hoping.
But Mike, he's only played in Detroit, correct?
Yep. No,
yeah, so Riley Patterson, he started his career with Detroit, who was drafted, then played Jacksonville.
Outside.
He played warm weather Jacksonville,
and
he played indoor Detroit.
Act like they don't travel to games.
He went to college at Memphis too, if that makes any difference.
He went to college.
He's never kicked here, has he?
No, he's never kicked in Cleveland.
This is the hardest stadium in the country to kick in.
What year is he? What year is this for him?
His third year.
Can I add on to what you just said?
Yeah, go.
Not only that, the Browns is on primetime national TV this Thursday with an opportunity to clinch, and it's supposed to be cold
60 degrees
today.
I think it's supposed to be crappy Thursday.
But Thursday it's gonna be cold and windy. I just don't. It's the unknown. It's the unknown, man. We're going to find out.
Well, you wacko for Joe Flacco. It better not come down to no field goal.
I told Mike, speaking of wacko for Flacco, we are 2 games away from a bunch of us. I said I would get 50 memberships.
Did you say that?
Yeah, Mike said he would get 50 memberships.
Yeah.
I don't think Bull agreed to that. But
I'll give memberships too. By the way, it's not supposed to be terrible Thursday night. As of now, overcast, but no rain.
See that?
Low near 40 and not heavy winds. I don't care about the rest of the regular season, but I think we'd all agree in the playoffs,
you need him.
You want Dustin Hopkins.
I mean,
this guy might be good.
I'm about to say, we don't know.
We know.
So let me.
But Hopkins, we know.
Wait a minute. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
He makes every field goal from now to the end of the regular season.
I'll feel more confident.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. Well, it's showtime.
No matter what he does, even if he's perfect, I'd still rather have Hopkins based on how Hopkins.
We kicker ties, bro. Let me
ask y'all this question because I don't know the answer. So you know how Dustin Hopkins was like 5 points away from Jim Brown's record? If he kicks him in the postseason, does that still count?
No.
So he don't get it?
No. Oh, I think does anybody care about those records?
If I'm Hopkins, I do.
Yes.
Hey, I could go around telling my kids I broke Jim Brown's record.
I'm about to say
that's something that
he
ain't
was 5 points away.
Yeah. By the way, it reminds me of an apology I wanted to make because on yesterday's show, somebody brought up the Browns championships pre-Super Bowl, and I was like, "Who cares?" And I often say that because, to me, there's a clear line of delineation in all sports of when the comparison of the championships is different. And for the NFL, it's the Super Bowl. The league was different. When the Browns won championships pre-Super Bowl, they were competing against a lot less teams. It was a totally different world. Mm-hmm. But I think when I say that, it can come off a little harsh and dismissive of the players who played in that time and what they accomplished. And I know Otto Graham's family still lives in the area, and I just wanted to make it clear that I don't mean to diminish how great a player Otto Graham was and what he accomplished for the city, and at the time was a great player and won championships and deserves all credit. I just think I can't compare it to the Super Bowl era. That's all I'm saying. It's not. But I came off harsh, and I don't want to diminish what Otto Graham and those teams did. So I just wanted to put that out.
I take them teams the championships.
We could use Otto Graham if Joe Flacco gets hurt. We could have used him.
Otto Graham is a Swiss Army knife.
He did everything.
He did everything.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Did a little research on Matt Hawk, the guy they just signed.
Yeah.
He was the Colts punter last year with Bubba.
Oh, well,
and has been on the Cardinals practice squad.
So that makes
sense.
sense.
That's the tie.
All right. Listen, I'm less worried about the punter. I know Bojorquez has been good, but I don't know. I just feel like there's more pressure being a kicker.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You're going to appreciate Corey Bojorquez because he did a really good job of flipping the field. And when you go against teams that's like really good offensively, that matters. To be able to flip the field, pin them inside their 20, their 10, that matters a lot. But when you look at the rest of the schedule, the Jets struggle offensively, and what's our last? Cincinnati. Bengals. That could be a problem there, but we ain't going to
I just know bad job out of me. I remember when we first got Dustin Hopkins, and I think we was doing behind the glass, and it was like maybe week 2 or week 3 of him being here, and he didn't hit all these 50-yard field goals. And I was kind of dismissive to what he was doing. I kind of wrote it off like, yeah, he a kicker. Kicker's kick. Kicker's supposed to make kicks. Why are we making a big deal out of it? You never really know what you got until you don't have it no more, right? Because as soon as that happened Sunday, I was like, damn, I want my kicker back.
Yeah, and
I need my kicker.
It don't count.
I need my kicker, man.
Nope.
That's messed up.
Myles Garrett got a sack on a 2-point conversion. That didn't even count as a sack.
Yeah, I know about that.
Which is all these weird rules.
I had a pick against the team up north and on a 2-point conversion.
And it didn't count. That's ridiculous because it's special teams technically or whatever. We got Leroy coming at 12, right?
Yeah, I should be here any minute. As soon as he is, we will bring him on. But I did have one more question about the kicking situation real quick. Not as worried, and Tyvis, you might be the best person to ask, but a hamstring injury on the plant leg versus the kick leg, obviously not ideal, but if we find out it's the plant leg and not the kicking leg, do you think that changes the recovery time, or is the plant leg in the situation of a field goal kicker equally as important and equally as finicky and needs just time to heal as the kicking leg would?
No, I think if it's the kicking leg, I think obviously that's a no-go at all. But the plant leg, that's very important. You see a lot of guys really working on their steps, making sure that they're straight and all of that. But I think you could still be able to kick. I think it might on the follow-through maybe that'd probably be where I think it'll mess them up the most. But I think Dustin Hopkins would be I don't think he's going to be out that long. I really don't.
The Browns might be in a situation where they have to keep a second kicker on the active roster in the playoffs. Because you can't afford, if Dustin Hopkins is dealing with a hamstring injury and he tweaks it in a playoff game, you can't afford not to have a guy who can kick. Now, maybe this Matt Hawk, whatever his name is, maybe he can, Bojorquez couldn't kick for whatever reason. Maybe this Matt Hawk maybe the part of the reason they're considering him is because he can also kick in an emergency.
Wait a minute, because it's been a while. So, okay, so you know how you got your 53 and you got your practice squad.
Yeah.
When you elevate somebody from the practice squad, right, that means you got to sit somebody on your original 46, 48, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right? So that means one less player had to sit, but you could keep this guy on practice squad just to elevate him for the game.
Yeah.
So in theory, you can elevate a kicker for the game.
Right.
And just sit like the 4-string linebacker for the game.
Right, he'd be inactive for the game.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, that's probably how
they might have to do that.
That's how I would roll.
If Hopkins is back,
because I ain't signing them to the 53. I ain't that.
Right, you don't need to.
Yeah.
Right, but it's going to be interesting to see how they handle it. Let me ask you guys this question real quick before we bring Leroy in when he comes in. We'll have a longer conversation about this at some point, either later this week or maybe early next week. Odds are the Browns are going to be the 5 seed.
Mm-hmm.
The only way they could fall below that is if they lose multiple games. Mm-hmm. Because even if they finish tied with Buffalo, who's the only team within a game of them, they would have the tiebreaker for a higher seed.
Okay.
5 versus 6. So realistically, the Browns are going to be the 5 seed unless they win out and the Ravens lose out. And I would think after what we saw from the Ravens yesterday, it's unlikely they're going to. You never know. But I think the Browns are it's 85% that they're going to be the 5 seed.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like almost a sure thing. Now, which means they're going to play at the 4 seed. The 4 seed is likely to be AFC South champ. However, the way the Chiefs are playing right now, who knows? Maybe the Chiefs.
Would be a shame.
Although Jacksonville's playing lousy too, and who knows? But let's say it's the AFC South team. Right now, who would you want the Browns to play? The Colts, the Texans, the Jags.
Jags. I want to play the Jags.
Texans that has C.J. Stroud back, right?
Yeah.
I mean, C.J. Stroud's been out 2 weeks with a concussion.
The Jags.
You assume he'd be back.
Probably the Jags.
Trevor Lawrence is dealing with an injury, and they're not playing well.
They can't figure it out without Christian
Colts have
Kirk.
the worst quarterback, but, you know.
It would be Jags, Colts, Texans.
It's Jags, Texans, Colts. I don't want no more Gardner Minshew. I don't want no more Gardner Minshew.
To me, Texans are definitely the last choice.
Yeah, I'm not going
They're not the same team with C.J. Stroud as they are with Case Keenum.
Mm-hmm.
I would actually rather play the Colts
That's
than
what
even
I said.
the Jags.
You rather the Colts over the Jags?
Yeah, I think I know the Jags are not playing well right now, but I bet they my gut tells me they'll right.
You know why I'm gonna flip your argument.
Yeah.
You know why you want the Jags?
Why?
Because we don't run the ball well, and they have one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL.
No, that was not why.
No, I'm telling you, that's why you want the Jags.
No,
that's why you want
Colts.
the Browns to play the Jags.
I said the Colts.
No, I'm telling you right now, you want the Browns to play the Jags. Your answer is wrong. I'm telling you why you're wrong.
I got you. Go ahead.
Let's bring in Leroy Hoard here, our resident running back. And today, Leroy is brought to us by FanDuel Sportsbook. As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay red hot on FanDuel. And right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action than right now. The app is easy to use, and you can bet on literally anything, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL. What's up, Leroy?
You know that it's got to pain our friend Leroy Hoard that right now the Browns are a passing team, Leroy. They can't run the ball. They're a passing team.
Hey, you know why I ain't going to never be upset about that?
Because they're winning.
Because they scored 36 damn points.
That's right.
Okay?
Yeah.
With that defense, 36 points will win you a Super Bowl.
You're damn right. We were just talking. Go ahead.
So it's not that. But here's, and I always make it a point to say this, okay? You're looking at the amount of yards. Even with all those passing yards, they had 30 carries. So if you can still be not necessarily one-dimensional, even though you're having success doing one over the other, but still be able to run the ball, that means you're controlling the defense. And so that's where I kind of lean towards that. Am I upset they're having success throwing the football? No. The only time I get upset is when they have 15 to 20 carries, averaging 5 or 6 yards a carry, and then they try to throw it.
That's fair.
But if it's like this, so that means that anytime it was like a 3rd and 2 or something like that, and they needed to run the football, they were able to do it. That's dominating a defense. You run it when you want to or when you need to, and all the other stuff is just a successful offense work. Because I got to tell you, like, I don't know what the hell defense they was playing on the other side. Can somebody cover Amari Cooper? Because here's the kicker. Ty, if you're preparing for Amari Cooper, what is the one thing you're going to say? He ain't going to run away from you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
11 catches for 265? With a guy that can't run away from you?
24-1 on an average at that.
Yeah.
The funny part
is
he not a blazer. Even when he caught the bomb, the dude still almost caught him at the end. Number 5 still almost walked him. So he's not fast.
But that's the thing. And we, like I said, we had this before. We don't give these guys enough credit. And I said when they signed Amari Cooper, he might have been one of the best things ever happened because he is the epitome of playing that position well as far as running routes, being where you need to be, and catching the damn ball. And we saw this with Anquan Boldin, who would always be in double coverage and catch the ball, and we say, oh, he's not a burner, we can't pay him. Right? This guy is good at what he does. I don't care who's covering him. And it's amazing to watch because, Ty, I'm watching it too and going, how in the hell is he this wide open and can't run away from nobody?
Technician.
Leroy, you want to hear a crazy stat about Amari Cooper running away from people?
What's that?
This season, according to Next Gen Stats from the NFL, he is second in the NFL on go routes, on yards gained on go routes, behind
why?
Tyreek Hill.
You know why? Because I'm going to tell you why. because they sitting on everything.
Yeah.
You remember, like, during the course of the year, I'd send this tweet out all the time. If y'all don't pressure the back end of that defense, they are squatting on everything, and you're gonna get picked. And it happened 2 games ago with Joe, right? They was sitting on everything. He was throwing it in the crowd. Then they opened it up a little bit. Like, you don't have to have a burner to stretch the field, but use one of them fast guys who can't catch. They gonna cover him.
Oh yeah, Marquise can catch, but that was the thing.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the thing. That the reason I was glad that they put this on tape, because now for moving forward, now DBs is like, oh well, he can go deep for sure. But Amari Cooper is special because Amari Cooper does that thing where he comes out, he makes every route look the same. So you really can't, you never know what it was. So if I was playing Amari Cooper, my thing is, I'm going to come out in the game before last week he ain't going to go deep. He might run the bang 8 or something like that, but it ain't nothing deep. So I don't have to worry about getting on my horse. And I was glad that they put it out there like, no, he can still beat you deep. And that's why that's why he was so effective in this game. I was shocked that they didn't start doubling this man. I was like, what is going on?
But Ty, I'm going to tell you this. As a guy who played in the slot a lot and got doubled, I only ran the route against one dude. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, but defenses think they doubling the guy. And the only way you could really double a guy is if you know the route he running.
Mm-hmm.
So if he run a go route, then you can do something short and deep, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if he running something like a slant, or he running something like a bang 8 or something like that, right? It's hard to double him because y'all stacked. And so it don't matter to me if they double him. Right? It like there's certain situations where you're gonna get got, right? Where they're gonna be in the right position. But for the most part, you just run your route off of your one guy, the other guy just gonna get in the way.
Well, yeah, Leroy, I mean, you think about the last couple of weeks, what has been Joe Flacco's and Amari Cooper's favorite route? The bang 8. They run that, he runs that post, that little skinny post, as soon as he come out his break, he throw it to him. So,
and even if that deep guy is sitting on it, he catch it before he can get down there.
And what they were doing was they were like, okay, we know that's his favorite route. We know Amari Cooper's his number 1 target. Let's just give him an inside piece. Let's make that safety play inside to take that away.
Sit on it, and then he went straight up.
He went deeper, and that's why he got beat. That first play, instead of running a bang 8, he ran an actual post and got behind both of them. That's what happened.
Right, but that's the ebbs and flow of a football game, right? So what I'm more impressed with is how these two guys, this quick, have been on the same page so well this quick, right? Like that's amazing. That's these things you discuss in the offseason during camp. Hey, if he do this, I want you to kind of just make it a post instead of a bang 8, right? Like these are things you talk, how they picking this up so quickly, and how these two guys, and there's something to be said about 2 veteran guys, because it's one of those things where, I used to have this with Bernie. He didn't have to, he just turned around and look, I got you, right? He probably give Amari that look. Okay, you see that safety there, we just gonna skinny it up, right? Like it's amazing to watch, and it's also, if you a Texan, you can't tell me that somebody wasn't frustrated on them sidelines going 265 yards, right? 11 catches. Anybody gonna cover him? So it was impressive to watch, but what made this game that much more impressive, that we've been watching the Browns all year, and one of the things that have plagued them, and one of the things why Joe has had to be so great in the fourth quarter, is because they lazily go into these games. They haven't jumped on anybody. So the fact that they got after it right away was one of the most impressive things, is that this was the first time where the Browns, start to finish, pretty much dominated.
Leroy, when Nick Chubb went down, a lot of people felt like the Browns running game would be okay, that, Jerome Ford would show what he can do, and that he would show that he was the future running back of this organization. I think dude has been very I haven't been impressed by him. When are we going to start seeing more Pierre Strong?
When he gets more patient, right? See, it's one thing to have speed. It's one thing to have explosiveness. but you got to learn how to use that on a football field. The thing about Nick Chubb is Nick Chubb runs the ball in little bursts, right? You see him and he's kind of booming in a burst, right? That's what makes Nick Chubb special. And then he has that acceleration to go, right? Jerome Ford has that. Not to the level of Nick Chubb, but he possesses a skill set that a lot of running backs don't have, and that's that top-end speed. But if you don't use it right, you can't tell. So if he just run up in the line of scrimmage real fast without, being patient, reading blocks and anticipating stuff like that, it looks like his skill set is the same as any other back who can't play, right? We know he possesses this skill. We know he possesses this speed, but it's how he uses it and how he's patient when using it. That's the thing he has to learn how to pick up on. And I'm going to tell you when I learned when I couldn't run so damn fast. Because then I had to figure out another way to play football. And that's usually what happens.
I was going to ask you, is that something that comes over the course of your career? You talked about this last week when you was on the show, and the first person I thought about was Le'Veon Bell. How patient Le'Veon Bell used to run the football. And I seen him become more patient the further his career got on. So do you think that's going to happen with Jerome Ford?
You start learning blocking schemes. You start learning, and then you lose a little bit of your skill set. Okay? I tell people running back is like a roller coaster. People don't realize that when you take that initial drop on those old school roller coasters, that is the fastest you go, right? The turns get tighter, so it gives the appearance that you're going faster, but you're not really going faster. When you play running back, as your skill set diminishes, you become better at all the other parts of it, whether it's reading defenses, anticipating blocks, being able to look at the flow of a defense, whether it's with the cutback or stuff like that, and you become more patient because you realize I got one burst here, right? I'm not going to outrun these guys. And you start using all these tools together, and you become more of a natural runner. And I think that's what happens. I mean, Le'Veon Bell, when he first got into the league, he just get it and go because he was a big boy. You couldn't bring him down. As he started getting banged up, you notice he started getting patient, almost like stopping.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Yeah.
And just letting things play out a little bit so he could use that acceleration. So I think that's one of the things that young guys have to learn. And in fact, you see this more than anything. A guy come into the league as a burner and he lights it up. And then 5 years from now, he playing on 3 different teams and can't play. It's because he never had to learn the true skill of playing the position. He never had to learn, okay, let me give my left guard a chance to set this up a little bit. Let me give my tackle and my guard a chance to get up on that second level. Because you always had the ability to just be over athletic and out athletic everybody. Out-athlete everybody. When that goes away, you have to find other ways to be successful. And that's for everybody in the NFL. You ain't the same player when you're 30 as you were when you were 23. You just not. But how can guys play that long? How can receivers become better route runners, right? Better at reading defenses. So that means that fast guy running across the middle, as he gets older, he realizes, okay, it's zone. Let me sit. This is with every position. Offensive lineman, defensive lineman. It happens with everybody. You're going to see it with Michael Parsons. Michael Parsons, he's just out-athleting everybody on the outside of the line of scrimmage. As his career moves on, he's going to be better with his hands. He's going to be better with the spin moves. He's going to be a better tactician at that position. And so I know Jerome Ford is an excellent runner, right? But I need him to learn the craft of playing running back. And he'll make the offensive line look better. He'll look better just with a little bit of patience because he can be more patient than most because his explosiveness and his burst might be a little greater than some of the other guys. He might have a quicker burst than Nick Chubb. But he don't look like a better running back than Nick Chubb because Nick Chubb knows when to use it.
Not even close. Hey, Leroy.
Right.
One guy who's really developed this year and taken his game to, I hate to use the cliche, but I will, another level. That's David Njoku. He might get 900 yards this year, which would, for a tight end.
I've already said he's going to make his first Pro Bowl.
Yeah, he's going to make the Pro Bowl. He's got a career-high 6 touchdowns, a career-high 750 yards. What are you seeing in his game? What has taken him from kind of a decent tight end to a very good tight end this year?
Quarterback.
It's just the quarterback, huh?
It has a lot. It has a lot to do with that. That some quarterbacks really like using the tight end, and basically you've empowered him to be a better player. He knows that he's an integral part of the offense. So how he goes about what he does is different than it's been all year because he know he's gonna get the rock. Right?
That's fair.
And when he catches it, who gonna stop him?
Yeah, he's tough.
Right? So it's something to be on that field and go, I'm a bad man. Right? It's amazing. And he looks confident out there.
He does.
Right?
Great point.
So a lot of it has to do with quarterback. A lot of it has to do with now you've been put in a position where the team is counting on you to make big plays, right? And it feels good. It feels good to be that guy on the football field that you're not just a player. Your team is relying on you to have success. And I think that's what's taken him to that next level is now there's some expectations with how you going to play. You know now you ain't going to be running around that secondary a whole game and have 2 catches.
Leroy,
great point.
It was a big topic debate today.
Yeah.
And I just need to know where you stand. I think the question was something about what's the question? Is it who's more important?
The question is
You can tell, Bull. Yeah, you go.
who would be a bigger loss?
Okay.
As crazy as this question would have been before the season, it's a legitimate question now. Who would be a bigger loss in terms of the Browns' chances of winning a Super Bowl this year? Joe Flacco or Myles Garrett?
Myles Garrett.
Okay.
You know why?
Ooh.
You know why?
Boy,
Because
tell him, Leroy.
I can drop Myles Garrett off by helicopter and he could dominate a game. Joe Flacco still got to depend on 5-6 other guys.
I get what you're saying, Leroy, but Earl and I, our argument was...
You can give me whatever argument you want.
Thank you.
Well, hey, we won't tell you why you screwed up your argument.
I'm an offensive guy.
Yeah.
I'm an offensive guy. And it took me about 1.2 seconds to think that one out.
But
Guess what? Wait. Let's put it this way.
Go ahead.
How many quarterbacks have they played with this year?
Leroy.
Four.
How many Myles Garrett they played with?
They played with one. Leroy.
I'm talking about Leroy.
You're telling me. Wait a second.
This is a beautiful moment where Michigan and Ohio State are on the same side.
That's what I'm talking about.
Leroy.
Oh, hell yeah.
Leroy, you think they could win a Super Bowl with P.J. Walker or DTR right now with no running game?
That defense is playing right now? Yes.
Thank you, Leroy.
10-0.
This man is smart.
The final score might be 7-3, but I know I got a damn chance.
Thank you. Thank you, Leroy. I appreciate it.
Leroy, what you're missing?
Hey.
What you're missing, Leroy, is in Tyvus's argument.
No, say it how I said it. Say it how I said it. Please say it how I said it.
Hold on.
So let me get this straight. What I'm starting to hear right now is maybe I didn't get the whole Tyvus argument.
No.
That's exactly what happened.
No. No. What you said is exactly what I said.
No. This is what he said,
Earl,
Leroy.
you got it. Earl, you got it.
This is what he said.
Say it how I said it.
He made his argument. He had a lot of facts for his argument for Myles Garrett. But then he came out and said the only difference between Phillip and Flacco was the touchdowns. Like he said it to
that was nothing.
Like it was nothing. Like Phillip, whatever Walker, he just walk in there. You got to be calling this man Phillip. Like he could just walk in there and do what Flacco was doing.
Can we here? Let me say this. There is nobody, including Deshaun, that has shown they could do what Flacco is doing, because none of them have gone down the field as accurately as Joe Flacco. So before we even go there, what we are witnessing from this dude is something we haven't seen with the Browns all year.
That's right.
That's why I look crazy.
That's
a fact.
Yeah.
That being said, here's the thing that comes with Joe Flacco. Turnovers. And this game don't even count because it was like end of the half or something.
Yeah.
He just chucked it up. So I'm not even counting. But he's got 10 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. And I tell people this. If you ain't watching them games, those numbers don't do it justice.
That's true.
If you don't see what that man is doing, you ain't seeing the whole picture. That being said, this right here, that last stat right there, that's going to be the end of the Browns. Can't be -7. And then go to the elite and play against the elite teams, right? That's a fact. But that has nothing, that is a football fact. You can't be -7, okay? Now, one of the things that the other guys did that Joe Flacco just don't care, okay? They wasn't taking a whole bunch of chances. So the offense looked stagnant because they wasn't slinging it around like Joe Flacco. If they had the confidence to do it, I think they have the skill set to sling it down the field. I don't know if they're going to be as good as Joe Flacco. But Joe Flacco came in and said, hey, I got a new life. I'm throwing it. Right?
He did.
And good or bad, this might be the first quarterback in the history of quarterbacks that we go, wow, 7 touchdowns and 5 picks. All right, whatever.
You're right.
Right. And you know what I'm saying, right?
Yep.
You understand that.
Yeah.
Like, well, whatever. All right, we got it. You see, and that's the thing that makes it. Your offense is going to be different. You're not going to score 36 points, right? But at the same time, I don't know if you have the 7 interceptions because they ain't taking those chances.
Yeah, but P.J. Walker had all those interceptions. He did.
Without the touchdown.
Without the touchdown.
And that's why they went and got Joe Flacco's
That's
ass.
right. That's right.
So let's but I'm gonna say this. We can say what we want about Kevin Stefanski. If he don't get some serious consideration for Coach of the Year, then they ain't been paying attention. Because he done been through 4 quarterbacks, 4 different game plans for each of those quarterbacks, and they are still in the playoffs? Man, that's phenomenal coaching. When you say you put your team in the best position to win, I know we've criticized him. I have too, about not running the football or, making some decisions that I maybe question. I can't question it. I can't. The guy knows what he's doing. And so from that standpoint, to see the success they're having, now, we had this conversation a few weeks ago that one of the reasons why he's probably having more success right now is because you eliminated the skill set from the quarterback. Right?
Right.
Ain't no more RPOs. Joe ain't running. So your offense is a little different, but maybe it fits Kevin Stefanski's game plan a little bit better. You see what I mean?
Yep.
So, to your point, Bull.
Yeah.
You are 100% wrong, my brother.
About what?
It is Myles Garrett.
Thank you. Leroy, you have been
guess what?
Fantastic today.
We've had 4 quarterbacks. We've had 1 Myles Garrett.
I said the same. Boy, you sound just like this dude I know. You sound just like this dude I know.
I gotta be careful because I don't know if I trust that you said the same thing because everybody seen the
Did I not say this?
He did say that.
Okay.
He did say it.
I mean, what you said,
Now,
the other thing you said was crazy, but.
It's coming, him saying it as a defensive guy, all right? You got to kind of grade it accordingly.
Yeah.
Me saying it as an offensive guy, But what I'm saying is, me saying it as an offensive guy, and I'm just going right to the defensive guy. Yeah, that's no.
Yeah, but in the end, I would argue, Leroy, that take out Deshaun because he's not playing. He's not an option.
Okay.
P.J. Walker and DTR. First of all, we just got a text from Jason who said DTR's on crutches in the locker room.
Yeah, everyone tweeted that too.
What's that?
From what?
He got hurt in the Chicago game and it got re-aggravated.
I don't know.
Against
The
Houston.
guy weighs like 112 pounds, Leroy.
No, but I mean, I'm like, we
He
sitting
played
there
a
praising
little.
Joe Flacco, and then the other guy got hurt.
Well, but DTR played like 3-4 plays in this game. I don't know. They must have taken a hit or something. But like P.J. Walker is maybe the worst quarterback in football. If they had a decent backup at this point, then I'd agree with you guys on Myles Garrett. But I don't think they do.
Can I just say this?
Yeah.
Here's what makes what Kevin Stefanski doing so awesome.
Yeah.
In most cases, you are in trouble if you have to use your backup quarterback.
That's 100% true.
And so for us to sit here and question the quality of the backup quarterback is crazy in itself.
That's true. That's all fair.
You see what I'm saying? So
I agree.
It's like soon as your starting quarterback get hurt, it's like when Chad Henne came into the game a couple of years ago and led them on a drive to win the game. I'm like, boy, everybody thank you. Because I know when they sit him in the game, they go, well, he ain't no Patrick Mahomes.
Nope.
Right? So like there's teams all over the league saying we should have got a better backup quarterback. And what? You spend your money on guys on the field.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's where the money got to go.
Leroy, last thing real quick. What's the deal with Jalen Waddle? How big a deal if he can't go?
If he can't go, but Tyreek can, you still good. You just need one of the – there's so much speed on that team, right? They don't do it as well. But keep in mind, Jalen Waddle's Robin.
Yeah.
Batman is Tyreek Hill. So you can find another Robin. I mean, even Batman used Catwoman every now and then, right?
Who's
see what I'm saying?
Robbie Chosen?
But guess what? Batman was always there.
That's true.
So as long as Tyreek playing, right, they should be okay. Now, I will say this. One of the things that the Dolphins have done, they're real cautious with injuries, right? They're thinking big picture. So they have so much speed on that team that there's other guys that can come in and kind of fill that role of number two. More importantly, you remember, Jalen Waddle had to be number one when Tyreek was out.
Yep.
So if he don't have to be number one and Tyreek is playing, I think they can be okay, even though, they might be able to roll some additional coverages over towards Tyreek, but they still got a lot of speed out there. I mean, I've never seen that much speed at the skill positions. I mean, they got 2 wide receivers and 2 running backs. They can run a 4x1.
Leroy,
that's not exaggerating.
They sleeping on that wide receiver y'all got down there. Cedric Wilson, that used to play for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
They sleeping on that dude.
But look, he's the biggest wide receiver they got, other than they got Chase Claypool, who ain't touched the field yet.
He's a bum.
Right. I don't know, man. Like, I just think, I'm going to put on my coaching hat for a second, and they get down to the 5-yard line and throw a fade to Tyreek Hill, and you got Chase Claypool. Yeah. I'm like, hey, throw it up to him. That's what he's here for, So, but again, it's another situation when you watch that offense go and you watch some of the things they do. They have struggled in the red zone for that reason. Either they give up on the run or they have all these ants running routes near the end zone. You need a big boy. Everybody got that big boy that just, we can throw it up to him and he'll go get it. And I'm just wondering, Chase Claypool is not a break in case of emergency. You got to break it and see what we got because, you don't know what he's going to be.
Leroy, great stuff, man. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. We'll talk to you next week.
Happy New Year. We'll talk to you next week, hopefully after another victory. And, man, this has been fun. This has been fun.
Damn.
Yep.
Thanks, Leroy.
Thanks, Leroy.
All righty.
We'll see you later.
Couple
Leroy,
injury updates for you guys before
Yeah.
we get into our next topic. But Kevin Stefanski speaking with the media. DTR is headed to the IR, so his season, at least in the regular season, is over. PJ Walker, Phillip, as Tyvis likes to call him, has been elevated to the active roster. Dustin Hopkins also ruled out for Thursday, so he will not kick already. No word on the punter situation, but Hopkins is listed as week to week with a hamstring. Stefanski did not, at least what I've seen so far, did not clarify if it's his kicking leg and or his plant leg, but he's officially ruled out for Thursday, and DTR is headed to the injured reserve list. Another guy that heads to the IR.
Did Kevin Stefanski say anything about the Browns signing another quarterback?
No, just Walker has been elevated. So I'm following on Twitter, so I'm following what Mary Kay tweets out. And
we need another QB, bro.
Yeah, he out.
Yeah,
we got to have somebody.
Well, they're going to add somebody, but it does. Listen, that's even more imperative to keep Flacco. And by the way, if the Browns win Thursday, and if the Ravens beat the Dolphins, then the Browns are locked into the 5 spot, and they will not play Flacco against the Bengals in that case. I can't imagine.
Let's save that conversation until they beat the Jets, and then we could figure it out, because it's rust versus rest to the maximum.
Yeah, I mean, is it really going to be rust? He was sitting for a year. He came out and played great.
But do you want to slow down the unbelievable momentum they have at that point?
I'd sit him for the last week.
That's a discussion we'll have. One we are going to have right now involves Amari Cooper.
I'd sit Myles Garrett, too.
On Amari Cooper's over receiving yards this past week on FanDuel, you would have cashed out big time. I know Earl hit a little parlay with a live bet on Amari Cooper using FanDuel. And right now, new customers on FanDuel get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time than right now to get in on the action. The app is easy to use, and there's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL. On the postgame show, Earl said he thought Amari Cooper was a top 10 receiver. I think he's in the conversation for top 10. Bull, we mentioned it on the Monday show that you think he's properly rated. So I'll ask it this way, and then we could dive into an official top 10 list at the end if we want to. But Amari Cooper, underrated, overrated, or properly rated?
I think in the end, these questions are always, no offense, Mike, because we do them all the time, and I just think it's a stupid question, because you could always go, well, this one guy disrespects my guy, so I say he's underrated. How do you really know how everybody,
So should we ask it, is he top 10? Do you want to do it that way?
I think Amari Cooper is in the bottom half. I think this year he's kind of moved maybe back into the bottom end of the top 10. He's not in the super elite category. He's not in the conversation with Jefferson and Chase and Tyreek Hill and A.J. Brown. Who am I forgetting in the super elite category? Anybody?
He's 6th in yards.
Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
Super elite. Jefferson, Chase.
I think Adams is out of super elite. Diggs.
Adams could be. I mean, it just depends on what. Me and Earl made a whole list this morning. We can go through it if you want.
I think Chase, Jefferson, Hill, they're the 3 best receivers in football. Anybody debating that?
Chase.
Or is A.J. Brown in that conversation?
Chase, Jefferson, Hill.
I think they're the 3. I think that's the top 3. To me.
Oh, yeah, no.
I think A.J. Brown is 4. Does anybody disagree with that?
Nope.
I struggle with this because, me and Mike struggled with this earlier.
Yeah.
Are we talking top 10 for this season? Are we talking top 10 over the last 5 years? Because when we did this earlier, I had Amari as a top 10 wide receiver for 2023, and I got him as a top 10 wide receiver over the last 5-year span of his career.
I'm just thinking in general, if I'm ranking receivers, right, I mean, the current year is going to play a role into it, certainly. But it's more like whether you have Amari Cooper at 6 or 8 or 10 or 12 or 14, wherever you want to put him. For me, it doesn't even matter. It's like there's levels, right? There's, to me, the super elites are Jefferson, Chase, and Hill. I think they're almost. I think Adams was in that group, but he's no longer. And then probably the next, or you can argue that maybe A.J. Brown, maybe Stephon Diggs are in that group. And then I think CeeDee Lamb. And then I think Amari. After those guys, I think Amari is in the argument with anybody else.
Is he with Amon-Ra St. Brown?
Yeah, I think he's right there with
Mike
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Evans and
Yeah.
Mike Evans is he leading the NFL in receiving touchdowns?
He is with 13.
That is crazy.
Hey, was Baker his quarterback at school?
Who? Mike Evans?
Yeah.
No, it
No,
was Johnny Manziel.
was.
Okay, I know Mark Andrews and Baker was on the same team, right?
At Oklahoma?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
I
I had the color scheme messed up. That's why I couldn't,
No, I think that Amari Cooper is properly rated. I think that.
I mean, any football person knows how good Amari Cooper is. He's not as flashy as some of the other guys because he's not as fast as a lot of the other top guys.
I mean, well, everybody, when you think of Amari Cooper, the number one thing that I don't care who you are, whatever DB, I don't care if you're the best DB, the worst DB. When you see that week, you look at your sheet and you say, I got Amari Cooper. The number one thing you're going to think to yourself is, that boy is a route machine. His routes is crispy. Probably the best route runner I'm going to go against. That's where you're at.
Maybe there's some casual fans that maybe underrate him a little bit. I don't think by smart football fans he's underrated at all.
No.
I think when you look at the top receivers in football, he's probably the only one that doesn't have either elite speed or elite size. All the other great receivers have one of those two things.
Justin Jefferson doesn't.
He doesn't have elite speed?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think he ran like a 4.5.
I don't think so either.
Okay,
Let
maybe
me
I'm wrong
look.
about that.
Hold on.
How big is Jefferson compared to Cooper?
I want y'all to both listen to this. Cecil, right? Me and Cecil had this conversation, and we were talking about speed
Oh, no, he
versus
ran a
route
4.4.
running.
Never mind.
Yeah, what did Cooper run?
Amari Cooper
like
at the combine?
4.4, I think.
We was talking about speed versus route running, and he was saying we was using we was talking about
4.42, actually. 1 second. He ran 4.42. Justin Jefferson was 4.43.
Jefferson seems faster to me on the field than
I
Cooper.
never
don't know
thought
why.
that. He runs good routes.
when you look at these wide receivers that's
Yeah.
running assassins, right? It makes them almost faster than what they really is.
Yeah.
And I could think about Teddy G, right?
Oh, he's just fast.
Right. Remember when he got to the league, he was just fast,
Yeah.
and he couldn't really get open.
Right.
But
Yeah.
towards the later of it, like back end of his career, he became a better route runner, and all of a sudden, Ted Ginn is putting up numbers at the wide receiver position, right? And so, like, I think like the speed kind of gets overrated sometimes because there's a lot of fast dudes who can't run routes.
Well, it's not but when you're talking about the guys in this top category,
right, but
it's not overrated.
I think that when this conversation is had, I think that's the reason why he kind of gets left out. Even if, let's say if he's
left
8
out
to
of
10.
what conversation?
Because I think he's top 10. Let's say 8 to 10.
Right, but nobody's leaving him out of a top 10 conversation.
But when
He's
you
left
talk
out of a
about the
top
casual,
5 conversation.
right, but when you talk about the casual fans who don't know
Yeah.
better, I think it's because he's not a burner, right? Or he's not
Right.
the flashiest dude. But the fact that he runs routes so well and has great hands for the most part, I think this dude is a top 10 wide receiver. Like I said, I could be wrong, but in 2023, I think he's having a top 10 season. And if I had to rank it over the last 5 years, I think he's a top 10 in that category too. That's just me.
He's the back end. I mean, over the last 5 years, well, now you're putting guys like Cooper Kupp ahead of him. You're putting Devontae Adams ahead of him.
Well, me and Mike said I think I had DeAndre Hopkins number 1. I had Devontae Adams number 2.
No, DeAndre Hopkins is not number 1.
If we was going over the last 5 years, I would put Hopkins 1 and Adams 2.
I don't even think he's close to 1.
He up
Over
there.
the last 5 years?
He up there.
Because
With the Cardinals, he was really good.
well, Jefferson's been in the league for 4 years. Jefferson's way better than Hopkins the last 4 years.
Jefferson been in the league for 4 years.
This is
Haven't
fourth
been 4
year.
years that already?
Chase has been in the league 3 years. Tyreek Hill is way
crazy.
He ain't better than Tyreek Hill over the last 5 years.
Who? Cooper?
No, well, Cooper, yeah, but not Hopkins hasn't been better in the last 5 years either.
Well, he was with Arizona. He was
I mean, fine. Who cares about 5 years
He been
ago, though?
suspended and stuff.
Who
That's
cares
why.
about 5 years
Like
ago
2
anyway?
of the 5.
Amari Cooper. I think we all agree. Amari Cooper is whatever. He's somewhere between 7 and 12. Is that fair?
He's in the top 10.
That's fair.
He's not again. And nobody's arguing for him to be any. Is there any argument for him top 5? I don't think so.
No.
And there's no argument for him lower than 12, I guess. Wherever that line you want to put it is. So he's there, and I think most people think he's there. He's been particularly great lately, and as Leroy pointed out, his chemistry with Joe Flacco is fantastic.
Yeah, they definitely. I mean, because it's. But I thought his chemistry with a lot of people was good. Like, I thought his with Deshaun was good. I thought with PJ and DTR, I feel like it wasn't as great with DTR, but for like PJ, it's like when you're a younger guy, it's like, I'm going to go to him because more times than not, he's going to win his route. I think the difference between Joe Flacco and the rest of the quarterbacks, maybe not Deshaun, but Joe Flacco and the other two, DTR and PJ, is that with PJ, it was get the ball out quick. With DTR, get the ball out quick. Like, go through it, go through one read, let him get open, hit him right there. With everybody else, it's more deeper developing. You know, I can let things come out because I can see the whole field. I can go through my progressions. I don't have to have a set standpoint like I'm going to Amari Cooper on this play. Like, that's not what Joe Flacco's thinking.
Right.
Did you hear what Amari said in the post game yesterday?
About him feeling like he can go for 300 yards? He goes in thinking for 100.
But that part, but he was talking about Joe, and he was talking about, you know, it's something there that we just mesh. Yeah. And he was talking about the film study, and he said that he noticed something from last week to this week, how strong his arm was and how, like, okay, if Flacco was in that pocket, he can really move around a little bit, and you seen what he was talking about on that fourth down throw. Yeah. You know, Flacco was kind of like eluding the rush, kind of dropped back. I think he was falling away when he threw the ball. And Amari said it's little things like that he's starting to pick up on about Joe Flacco that's helping build the chemistry. But overall, like, you know, he's been asked this question a lot, and he's just said himself, man, like, it's just something between us that mesh. It just works.
I think last week I said that Nick Chubb or maybe I said it yesterday, I don't remember. Nick Chubb and Amari Cooper, kind of similar type of guys. Did I say that yesterday?
On the Monday show, yeah.
I think
very
they're cut from
effective,
the
but
same
don't
cloth.
talk a lot.
Yeah, they're like there's no.
Have you ever listened to Amari Cooper talk? He's very philosophical.
Right. Well, you saying Nick Chubb's not philosophical?
I don't feel like not to the magnitude of Cooper.
The way they play.
Yeah.
There's no flash to their game.
No.
They just go out there, do the right thing all the time.
Yeah.
They don't make stupid mistakes. Like, they just – and I think Flacco, in a way, he's not in a way – like, Flacco's a gunslinger, or at least he's playing like one now.
I mean, that's it. He's been that his entire
But he's
career.
also another guy like Chubb, like Cooper, who there's no flash to his game. It's like he's not first down signaling. He's not – and listen, I'm not saying you do want to do that stuff, fine. Although I got to say, I said it on our text. By the way, I was complaining about something in our text chat yesterday. And either Mike or Jason said, well, don't you have anything else to complain about?
Jason said it, and you went off.
I put like 15 things that pissed me off.
Wait a minute.
And I can read them now.
Yeah, when was this?
I missed that.
Okay, so.
It was at like 11:30 last night.
I was asleep.
Hey, why you getting that together? You know, like, did you watch the Run Barry Run? Anybody seen Run Barry?
No, I got to watch it. I got to watch it.
No, not yet. I thought you said Barry for a second.
Yeah, the personality, like the personality, man. Nick Chubb and Barry Sanders, like in personality, is very similar. Like.
Yeah, 100%.
I wonder who Nick Chubb's favorite running back of all time is.
That's a good question.
I feel like I've asked him that before, but I don't remember because it's been a while since
it
wouldn't shock me or you if he said Barry.
Under pressure, I can see him saying Jim Brown because of the circumstances.
Right.
But outside of that, who did you grow up watching?
Listen, if guys celebrate, that's fine, whatever. But I like when a guy's just like, this is what I do.
No, I'm flashy.
But you got to admit, so this all started when I said, I cannot stand now this new thing that the defensive teams do, where every time there's a turnover, they have to run to the end zone to do the celebration.
That's fire.
It's awful.
That's fire.
Just do it the way you want. Why are you going to run 70 yards?
That's fire.
Well, it's a bunch of reasons.
It's a bigger cameras down there.
Cameras, pictures.
Yeah.
Most of the celebrations are lame anyway.
Yeah, but you got to think, though, a lot of these guys self-market too, right?
Yeah.
This is for the social media. Yeah, it's for the social media.
The camera guy's in the end zone, so you
Right.
run to the end zone and you get right in front of the camera and you get a nice picture. That's why.
Yeah.
Bo, read the list of the other things that piss you off. Then I got something else.
There's one I can't read because
everyone but the one. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So I said.
Go back and look at this.
What did I say here? I said, is there anything worse than teams running 70 yards after a turnover just to celebrate in the end zone? And I said, what is with this, Tyvis? But obviously you were sleeping seeing it. I said, just bleep and celebrate when you make the play. Then I said, also, Nick Sirianni's face pisses me off.
I see it now.
I can't stand it. Every time I see him, I want to punch him in the face. It's not nice, but I'm telling you. So Jason goes, anything else you hate, you want to get off your chest? I said, people that take up 2 spots in the parking lot, both New York football teams. Should I say the next one?
Don't say it. Don't say it. That's me. Don't say it.
Annoying people on Twitter. I'll just say that.
There you go.
All right. Radio people that use fake voices. News anchors that think they're funny. Hate that. Girls that are showing off their boobs but roll their eyes at you when you look because you're not the guy they wanted to show them off to. We've all experienced that, right? Maybe Tyvis has.
Did you see Jason's response? Did you see his response?
You know what I'm talking about.
I see it.
Which one are you laughing at?
I was asleep. That's
That
why.
one sounds personal. Yes. Earl, don't tell me you've never had that experience.
Of what?
Like some girl is dressed sexy, and you're like looking at her, and she gives you that, ugh. I wore these for Tyvus, not for you.
Yeah, it's more so on social media. Like, they'll dress like that on social media. If you drop the heart eyes, they'll be like, oh, my God, y'all always.
I mean, I'm not touching. If I'm touching, that's out of line.
Hey,
I can look. If you're going to walk around. Listen, if I walked around with my balls hanging out.
When you say
people would have a right to look.
There's a difference. It's a glance and then it's a stare.
I don't stare. I got some game.
Like if you,
I know how to look, Tyvus, without staring like an animal. But don't give me a dirty look because I looked at your boobs when you're walking around with your boobs hanging out.
I got it.
Come on. You guys out there, you know what I'm talking about. Most of you guys, unless you're the top 5% of good-looking guys, you know what I'm talking about. And then I said every television show on ABC, Fox, CBS, or NBC. Mark Sanchez, Donald Trump's hair. I said something else next, which I won't say. People who claim they told me something 9 months ago on Twitter about sports and claim they were proven right. Like, how would I know? You told me 9 months ago. This is another one. When football announcers call a rookie a young rookie, they do that all the time. Wouldn't the assumption be that if he's a rookie, he's young? Right? Wouldn't you just assume that?
Unless you Brandon Weeden.
I might say Brandon.
Right,
Unless you Brandon Weeden.
But what happened when Brandon Weeden was a rookie? They'd always say 28-year-old
Yeah,
rookie.
they would.
So why would you have to say young rookie? I think that was all my complaints, right? I mean, I got others, but those are all the ones that
Bull got game. That's all I got from all of this. I got some game.
I got some game.
Bull got game.
I'm not much game, but I got some.
That's the next Spike Lee movie.
Hey,
Bull got game.
Put a poll in the chat.
Yeah.
Is Bull out of pocket right now? A dead even 50-50 split with 200 votes.
What am I out of pocket about?
I'm just saying.
There's people out there that agree with you wholeheartedly.
But what I'm curious as to what of the things I said do people think I'm out of pocket about?
Nick Sirianni's face.
Come on, everybody. No Browns fan likes Nick Sirianni's face. Isn't he from Ohio though? Maybe that's it. Maybe.
Is he?
He went to Mount Union. I don't think he's from Ohio.
Oh, okay. There's something about his face. Listen, I'm sure there's a lot of people see my face want to punch me in the face.
News anchors.
Sure, I probably got a punchable face too.
What about the news anchors that think they're funny?
Oh my God! Has you ever seen a news anchor that was funny ever?
Jay Crawford.
He's not really a news anchor. He is, but he's a sports guy.
He was about to call. He's really not a news anchor.
Jay doesn't really.
Hey, catch Jay Crawford on Channel 3 at 5 o'clock.
Mike Polk.
He's not a news anchor either. He's whatever it calls. But by the way, I saw this video on Instagram. This is how that conversation started. I tweeted a video, or I put a video in our chat about this guy was talking about something. He looked like Mike Polk's British twin brother, right?
He did.
You see that?
It was pretty spot on.
But anyway, so
Didn't he respond? Didn't Polk
what else am I
respond?
out of pocket about?
I'll look real quick. How about Bull? I lost you when you said you took your balls out in public.
Yeah, that was out of pocket. I agree with you there.
Poetic Pen says the bulge is wild. The Quag said Bull's about to get fired.
I'm never getting fired.
Bruce Elliott says Jay doesn't count.
Jay is the least funniest dude.
Is Jay the least funny guy on the show?
No, he's hilarious.
Jay is funny. I think Jay's funny.
Jay's funny.
The least funniest
but
dude.
But he's not I mean, technically he's an anchor,
Yeah.
but he has experience. Most anchors have no ability to ad-lib. Most television anchors have no ability to ad-lib.
They're reading off of a prompter.
Right.
Jay refuses to read off a prompter.
Jay doesn't.
Oh, he's a smart man. You know, I tried that before. I tried to, when I was interning at Channel 10 in Columbus when I was still playing, I tried to do one, and I'm like, I can't do it.
No.
It's hard.
You ever heard
but the least funniest person on the show is Steve, and that's it's not even up for debate.
Or Steve the director?
No,
Steve Kerr.
Steve, the one that's doing this right here, that guy. Not funny. It's not funny at all.
We do have a little bit of an injury update for you guys, though, and then we'll read some super chats. But Jake Trotter tweeted, Stefanski says, quote, I'm not sure if Hopkins would be back for the playoffs.
Oh.
Again, calls him week to week. Hopkins has been clutch all year for the Browns, but Stefanski is unsure if Hopkins, dealing with a hamstring injury, would be back for the playoffs. On a scale of 1 to 10, real quick, guys, and hopefully we'll learn more as the week goes on, and he's already been ruled out this week, but Is this a level 4 loss, a level 7 loss, a 10, a 1? Like, where on a scale of 1 to 10 is losing Dustin Hopkins?
Oh, it's up there, very high, because in the playoffs, games is coming down to field goals more times than not. And if you don't have a guy that's guaranteed that can hit it, you can lose games. So hopefully Patterson is pretty clutch. Hopefully he can get some things done. We'll find out over the next course of these next 2 weeks, but. If he misses a field goal, oh my God!
What's a bigger loss, Dustin Hopkins or Myles Garrett? That one's got Tyvus thinking.
It's a pretty big loss. Myles Garrett and Dustin Hopkins is 1 kicks and 1 plays defense. Other than that, there's no difference.
Myles said he could kick field goals. So.
Yeah, he did say that yesterday. He said he could
if you were making a list before this Sunday's game of the top 10 least. The 10 guys you least think the team can afford to lose. Would Dustin Hopkins be on the list?
Yes. Yes. You know how many games that came down to a field goal that he had to make?
It's a pretty big loss. Now, in the end, if this guy Patterson, we got Hopkins. There was not a single person that was like, yes, we got Dustin Hopkins.
See, now what you're talking about. It's like the Joe Flacco thing. If Patterson comes in here and actually kicks really well and they go deep into this thing and win it off of a kick because of him, now you're putting yourself in a dilemma for next year.
What
same thing with Joe Flacco.
No, it's not the same thing.
It's a dilemma.
There's no dilemma.
If the Browns go out there and win a Super Bowl, it'll be the biggest dilemma at quarterback.
If the Browns win the Super Bowl, no, the kicker won't be a dilemma. Dilemma. The kicker won't be, because if Riley Patterson makes big kicks in the playoffs, the Browns win the Super Bowl, I'm keeping him. He's a lot younger than us.
He's about to say I'm kicking Hopkins off. I got to kick Hopkins out of here.
He's 5 points away from time.
He's 5 times. If Riley Patterson, if the Browns win a Super Bowl, which means they're going to have to win 4 games, so there's 6 games left. If he's perfect over the next 6 games, makes a bunch of 50-yard field goals, and the Browns win a Super Bowl and a game-winning kick by Riley Patterson, he's my kicker next year 100%.
Okay, let me ask you about quarterback.
Yeah.
Don't do this.
No,
please don't do this. Don't do this.
Please.
Trust me.
You know.
Let me just say this. That is going to be the conversation we have most often this offseason if Joe Flacco has any run in the playoffs.
Oh, man.
That is going to be the entire offseason, so we have plenty of time to say this.
We have Super Chats and a couple questions in the Super Chats I want to answer, so let's get to the Super Chats. And as always, Super Chats are brought to us by PCC Airfoils. If you're looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits, PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up. Plus, full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. You can apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. The first Super Chat, a couple of these are questions, a couple of these are just Super Chats, comes from Tech Operations. And Tech Operations says, I hate to rain on y'all's parade, but Flacco beat the Jaguars to the 29th ranked pass defense, the Bears 26th ranked pass defense, and Texans 25th ranked pass defense. Wait until we beat a real defense before we crown this guy. Well, that's no fun.
Who's crowning him?
That's no fun, Tech.
It sound like to me he'd take Myles Garrett over Joe Flacco.
Nobody's crowning him.
Smart man.
We saying he's playing excellent football right now.
Yeah,
this is a big test this week coming up. That's why I kept telling you, out of the 5 games, this is the one that concerns me.
I don't know why you guys are out of pocket about the Jets.
They're a really good defense. Our offensive line isn't that great. The only reason they look great is because they didn't have
They just gave up like 30 points to the Commanders.
Who?
The Jets.
So what?
What was the final score?
You know why?
30-28.
You know why?
Yeah.
Because they took their foot off the gas. That's why. They was up by like 27-0 or something like that, wasn't they?
Ain't no raining on my parade, though, man. The Browns was winning. That's the only thing that matters. So.
I didn't say they're going to lose.
I just said I thought they'd cover, and they're favored by 7.
I
do think this is the toughest. The whole wacko for Flacco, 5-0. I think this is the toughest of the 5.
I just think that is so much.
You guys are out of your mind.
I just think it's too much. You lost to him last year for the 2 minutes, so you're going to be fired up off of that. And Joe Flacco is a revenge game, so he's going to be fired up. He's going to try to do too much.
You have a chance to clinch the division. It's going to be bedlam.
I'm not saying they're going to lose the game. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that it's going to be way closer to 7 points. That's my personal
quarterback for the Jets, by the way?
Trevor Siemian?
Yeah.
What that mean?
He sucks.
He just put up 27 points.
against the worst defense in the NFL.
Hey, random thought, because I told Mike.
Joe Flacco just put up against a terrible defense in the NFL.
Not a terrible defense.
Mike got to keep going, but I told him this. Your boy Phillip. Guess who got more passing touchdowns than P.J. Walker this year? You would never guess this.
Who got more passing
Tyler
touchdowns?
Boyd.
No. Derrick Henry.
Next question, Mike.
Next one comes
Earl
from
trying to
Preston
make me
Herring,
upset.
and I am the only one appropriately
sick.
able to answer this question. Preston, he asked 2 questions. We're going to answer your first question on the show in the next day or two, so we'll get to that. The second one goes, who hung Jason's soundbar because that looks so messed up? I put it in the chat yesterday to answer. I went to Jason's for Christmas. Jason, thanks for having me. Jason does very well for himself. His TV's on a mount, and normally if there's no tree, it is lined up over the soundbar, but because the tree's there, he has slid it to the side, and it looks way off.
Well, you have to do very well for yourself if your TV's on a mount.
Well, it's just a whole nice setup.
I mean, I have a nice setup in my basement, don't I?
Very nice, yeah. But your Christmas tree isn't
Well, I don't have
in
a
the
Christmas
way of
tree.
that. Yeah, it's just the ability just to slide the TV over to avoid the soundbar. It's a nice TV setup.
Yeah.
So it's
I
not
can move my
typically like
TV
that,
also.
But I also will say those comments had me dying.
Why
So
did
keep
he
roasting
do
Jason.
that? Oh, he said that he slid his TV over.
TV
on the
was
mount.
over for the tree.
Okay, so naturally it's not like that.
Naturally, it's not like
Cool.
that.
Yeah, that would be
Everyone
bad
Okay,
if it was natural.
cool.
Yes. Next, P. Williams says Karma is a 2024 AFC Championship game. Browns versus Ravens. Browns win, avenge the 1995 move with Flacco at the helm. What a storyline that would be.
Well, they could play the Ravens in the second round, though. I mean, they could play them in the championship game. If the Ravens are the 1 seed and the Browns are the only road team that wins in the first round, then the Browns and Ravens will play in the second round.
Second round, yeah. Next one comes from Fortune888. Tyvis is completely accurate.
Oh.
Fortune's on Team Tyvis today.
About who? About what?
I'm guessing this is the Myles Garrett.
Tyvis said it don't
Flacco
matter.
more valuable
All he heard was he
conversation.
was accurate.
Listen,
I said that's the only part that matters to me.
And next,
nobody
the next
thought
one comes,
Tyvis was crazy for his argument. We thought he was crazy for what he started his argument with.
Well, the next one is from Charles T. He has 2. He said, Tyvis is right. Who was the quarterback when the Browns beat the 49ers and the Ravens?
You know, people keep saying this.
Just saying, man.
As if because it happened in the regular season in one game, that means it'd be easy to do it. Like, well, they won with P.J. Walker before. Come on now.
Next
They
up,
won.
Nick
Here's
Foles.
the
They
big
said the same thing about Nick Foles, and he won it all.
Here's the big
Case
difference.
Keenum had the Minneapolis Miracle.
Here's
That's all
the
I'm
big,
saying.
big difference, Tyvis. The Browns won those games in spite of P.J. Walker. They're winning these games partly because of Joe Flacco. That's a big difference. Is that not true?
No, it isn't, because if I have a defense that's only given – technically, they only gave, what, 7 points against the
7
Texans?
points. No, it's really 0 before garbage time.
You think
Not the Texans game.
Phillip can't put up
yeah.
7 points?
No.
Are
Not
you,
with no running game.
Are you insane?
No.
So what?
No.
So Indianapolis putting up 30 points to win.
You don't think that Joe Flacco has been a big part of the reason they've been winning 3 in a row?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I
that's what I'm
also
saying.
believe that the face of this team is the defense, boy. You need to
I
stop
agree.
acting like
I
that.
agree.
You need to cut it out and stop diminishing the fact that
I'm not-
if they put in me at quarterback, I can get us 7 points.
I
No.
got
No,
a
you
bunch
can't.
of super chats.
And
I
you're
gotta
better
get
than
through
P.J.
these.
Walker. Go ahead.
Charles T. also says the Browns lose 2 starters per game. Who has won more games for the Browns this year, Dustin Hopkins or Joe Flacco?
Dustin. It ain't. Why you Dustin?
D-Hop.
Yes, that's assuming whatever other kicker you would have would not have made any of those kicks.
Next
I don't
one comes
believe
from
that.
Armac Dog. Bull, do you think the Celtics should remove the banners for their first 9 NBA titles when there were only 8 teams in the NBA? If Boston can honor their early teams, the Browns should be able to too.
I didn't say they should.
Sly says we might have to bring back the QB Whisperer label for Stefanski. Daryl says UCSS is fire. I love you guys.
Why is that so funny?
Sly says if you think Flacco is more important than
sarcasm
Myles,
in it.
you're crowning him.
It's a stupid point, but go ahead.
And last but not least, and I can't believe I'm going to read this, but I'm going to read it.
Yeah.
This is a super chat. I'm just reading the super chat. This is from Do It for Chubb. Bull, I'm with you on the melon knockers. I'm Jerry the King Lawler when it comes to puppies. I'm looking if you shoving.
That's right, Melon King, whatever your name is.
Yo.
And by the way, if the Celtics championships from back in the day when there were less teams and there were not a lot of big guys, then Bill Russell should be the greatest player in the history of the NBA because he's won the most championships. But it's not looked at that way because it was a different era. That's all I'm saying. Doesn't mean the championships don't count.
That man said,
hey, Mark, can I get 30 seconds?
Yeah, you 30 seconds.
30 seconds? Right here. Hey, man, happy birthday to my mom, man. Today is my mother's birthday. I know you've been through a lot. Just want to tell you that I love you, and I thank you for having me. Because you did that, I get the opportunity to do some great things with my life before my time ends. So happy birthday to you. I love you.
Happy birthday to Earl's mom.
Does she watch every day?
No. She acts, though. She acts.
Happy birthday to Earl's mom.
My mother would be like, so did Joe Flacco hit a home run? In the bottom of the third quarter.
Oh, did you see the Guardians acquired offense?
That is overtime.
Who?
I don't know. Here.
Oh, you're throwing me your phone. Who? Estevan Flores. Oh, they made a trade?
That's overtime.
All right. He was a prospect at one point. We'll see you on overtime. See you later, everybody.
Puppy!
Your mom is another person that gets screwed over by...